No, that was the Josecito spot, right? That was the spot where, oh crap, it's all falling apart right now after a long layoff. He passed that test. You just want to imagine, can he remove the risk aversion? It wasn't there against Pacquiao, but it kind of was, just from the standpoint of his biggest critique on his own performance against Pacquiao was that he didn't throw enough. In fact, Luke, he told me on that interview that he feels if he landed 15 more punches, it would have been enough to sway that close split decision. But he can't come in looking to outpoint Spencer Crawford. That's the point, because the fear, Luke, remember when Sergey Kovalev fought Canelo, and Sergey's the bigger puncher, but he chose self-preservation by boxing. And even though at the time of the stoppage, you could argue he was slightly ahead. I had him slightly ahead. Kovalev boxed really good behind his jab. But once Canelo went for it, it was over. Nobody wants to see Thurman acting like Kovalev against Spencer Crawford, right? You want to see him going in there, okay, looking to win more rounds, but also looking to knock this guy out. And to be able to do that against a Spencer Crawford, you have to be willing to welcome a lot of danger. And I don't know, Luke. I don't know.
I think you're right that, like, what would be required to get past those kinds of challenges are not things that you saw before the long layoffs, and even with this one, not something that you saw that would give you inspiration about his chances there. I think that's a very fair criticism. In part, though, what's interesting is, you know, again, I wasn't covering boxing in a dedicated way when Thurman was doing some of his better work on CBS and whatever, the early PBC kind of explosion there. And as a consequence, I don't know that I have some of the same kind of, I won't say hang-ups, but I have and it's not even fresher eyes, because in a way it's more ignorant eyes. I just mean to say I wasn't judging him based off some of the glory that he had shown previously. I was merely judging him based off some of that, and then like just what is reasonably attainable for even an elite athlete in the space. For me, under those conditions, he passed. But I certainly grant, BC, if you were looking for something that made you think that like this guy can go up there and really give Crawford, put him on his heels, or Spence is going to get outworked and blah, 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 or the power's there that he'll just bite down on the mouthpiece. No, he took the mouthpiece out and kept moving when he got hit to the solar plexus. I understand that.
The reason why all of these fears need to be compartmentalized and not get in the way of your excitement for when he does fight those guys. And by the way, he very well could be fighting, Terrence Crawford next. It would seem like the right next career move to Crawford to sit down with Al Heyman and figure out a price and do this. He had a gap between the Josecito and the Manny Pacquiao fights that was 4 months? And the questions we had about him coming out of Josecito, I think, boy, did he answer with his performance even in a loss against Pacquiao. So let's give him the chance to do that against Crawford if it happens, even though that's a steeper hill to climb at this point. Manny was 40. He had a great year, great performance, but steeper hill against Crawford.
Fair enough. I think it's a good point. All right, let's go back and sort of say from a Combat Sports Weekend here for point number 4. There were a lot of different things happening, a lot of different parts, a lot of things going here or there. So, BC, question for you, very simple. In boxing or MMA, for good or for bad, who stood out to you on Saturday night that we have not yet talked about?
I know our MMA fans don't want to hear all this boxing coverage, Luke, but you and I had legitimate questions about Luis Neri from Mexico, the former 122 and 118-pound champion who had come off that body shot title knockout loss to Brandon Figueroa, and it had been a bad stretch, right? Like, even he looked bad in wins and changed trainers and just didn't look like that guy anymore. And, oh, by the way, he gassed out against Figueroa, more or less. He came out against Carlos Castro. This was an important fight on the undercard of the Thurman pay-per-view over the weekend. And, Luke, he boxed beautifully. Scored a big-time knockdown in the first round, but didn't gas himself out going for the finish afterwards. And even though his gas tank slowed a little bit in the second half, I thought he thoroughly outboxed Carlos Castro in ways that I didn't expect. He was a counterpuncher for most of it, but his defense was sound. He wasn't getting hit. And when he's, committed to power shots, they moved. It ended up being a split decision. I really didn't understand the judging on the other side at all. But the right guy won, and I think you insert him right back in that mix with Stephen Fulton, with Figueroa, with Danny Roman, with the unified champion Akhmadaliev. He's still that guy, Luke, and it was great to see.
Are you okay?
No doubt about it. And I saw right away, I didn't see the fight itself. I did see the main event that night, but I didn't see this one until it made its way to social media. For the first round on, as you indicated, setting the tone, he looked pretty good this time. I think the last two performances seemed like were a bit of a wake-up call for him. On some level, it looked to me like he didn't change who he was, but it did look to me like he had tightened some things up a little bit around what he was doing and the way he was applying his trade. So a nice win by him. I don't bring this up in any kind of joy. I bring it up because it actually did, it set a record, at least tied a record on Saturday night. Sam Alvey gets another loss. That I think brings him to 0-7-1 in his last 8. Not a great run. That would tie BJ Penn for the longest winless streak in UFC history. I would imagine that this would probably mean his organizational exit, although one can never be too sure. But the thing that really stood out to me was he does have some, obviously, a fair number of wins in the UFC. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got 10 UFC wins. However, when you look through them, Jean Vellante not in the organization anymore. Marcin Prachnio, I don't think he's in the UFC anymore. Rashad Evans retired. Mark Hart gone. Alex Nicholson gone. Kevin Casey, Eric Spicely gone. Dan Kelly, Cesar Ferreira gone. Dylan Andrews, I believe, is gone. So the only person I don't think he has a win over a UFC fighter who was still on the
He retired them all while smiling. All right.
In a way, those are nice wins, especially at the time that he got them, including the Rashad Evans wins. But I think that might mean the end of his UFC run. We'll have to.
It probably should, because at the super elite level, you can't employ fighters losing that many times in a row. His situation was much different than BJ Penn, Luke. Meaning that Alvey was more competitive in a lot of these fights, but also he's a good company guy, and he takes last-minute opportunities and new opponents and whatever, and you know, goes out there and earns an honest paycheck. And sometimes you can clown a guy like this, but at the end of the day, you really have respect for a guy like this who came out and fight. But you know, 0-7 with a no contest in 8 fights, that you know, that says it all, Luke. You know, you rarely get somebody with this many consecutive before they just shut it down anyway.
I remember the days. I remember vividly when if you got 3 losses in a row, they would bounce you. And I'll never forget when Dan Hardy lost to Anthony Johnson. I think they were supposed to have fought on like a versus card. And that at the time represented Hardy's 3rd loss in a row, or so, maybe even 4th, something like that. And I remember Lorenzo Fertitta tweeting that, like, you know, he's not going anywhere because he's so great, which is good. Like, you, as a rule, like, you know, 3 losses in a row is a hard thing to, at the UFC level. It's very easy to lose 3 in a row, no matter where you are, top 5, top 15 or not. So I'm glad that there's more leeway, but you're right. Once you start getting to this, I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot that we haven't won. So I tend to think this might be it for him at the UFC level. However, he probably will get signed by one of your bigger ones, one PFL, BKFC, Bellator, something like that. So,
Luke,
all right.
Do you have extra credit planned today for the other stories of note?
I don't know, because I would have done a big one on Shavkat Rakhmonov, but I feel like at this point it's kind of overkill. And the rest of that card was kind of, you know, I don't know. So we'll see.
All right. Did you like Nick Maximov's Diaz brother impression in the interview afterwards? He had all the mannerisms down, Luke.
Fighting style totally different, though. Isn't that wild? It's so weird to me. Like,
is too, Luke. That guy's
he's jacked. By the way, that kid's only 24 years old. I mean, that's pretty. You know, did he have the most dynamic win? No, he didn't. But for 24, and that's your 8th fight, that's a pretty good job he did. The thing I would say though is, you know what's really weird to me is they don't just like borrow the Diaz brothers' personality; they borrow it to like a T. Like, I was pointing this out. I used to listen to the Deftones a lot. I like Deftones a lot. I saw them in concert a couple of times. But you know, their work changes around a certain album called The White Pony. Like, all of their walkout music that they use in the Deftones is all post that. They don't get anything from like early Deftones. It's just like very specifically Diaz and the way that the Diazes are who they are. It's just incredible that they've absorbed that personality so directly, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's soaked in it. He's dripping Diaz swag, and yeah, he does it well, Luke. Did you say White Pony? Is that a Booger Sugar reference, Luke?
I don't think so. All right. Last but not least, BC, this is a fun one for me. Let's look ahead to UFC 271, main event this weekend. The rematch, one that has been long anticipated. I think we all kind of thought, okay, Adesanya beat Robert Whittaker thoroughly the first time, but that wasn't going to be their only meeting. Sure enough, Robert Whittaker goes on a win streak that cannot be in any way doubted whatsoever, gets the rematch. BC, what is the main storyline in this fight ahead of fight week that you are paying attention to?
I think it kind of has to be is Robert Whittaker actually a better fighter than he was back when he was running a little bit too, hot and heavy, and we know the situation, and mentally and physically fatigued, and then, not only did he get stopped by Adesanya in that first fight, but I like his honesty and humility to say, look, I got so caught up in just wanting to beat that guy, right? So I think the storyline surrounding, are we going to now get to see what this potentially classic fight has to offer between two, I think, when all is said and done, all-time great fighters? Is this going to be the type of competitive theater that it could have been back then if the situations were different? And in the long run, has this fall but rise from Whittaker made him better for it coming into this now? And that storyline, which extends easily and connects to the idea of, Luke, buckle up. This is mixed martial arts at its finest. Like, I can't freaking wait for this fight. Storyline wise, X's and O's wise, what it means to their legacies. Like, I love this fight, Luke. Okay, I'm rock hard with emotions, Jake Hager, about this fight.
The comparison is not accurate, what I'm about to say, on certain levels for very obvious reasons. But I would not want to lose sight, BC, of some of the potential historical parallels. What do I mean by that? Not so much Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. That doesn't fit. But Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin has some unique and interesting parallels. A guy in Rich Franklin, before Anderson Silva came along, I remember him as champion. I remember him beating, certainly David Loaza was a big one, but Edwin Deweese, I remember him just beating the shit out of Edwin Deweese, Evan Tanner as well. He was just tuning these guys up. He was the man before Anderson Silva ever got there. And then Anderson Silva gets there, and Rich Franklin got kind of cast out and then had a rematch situation later, and it didn't go his way either. Now, I don't know if that will happen, BC. In fact, to be clear, Robert Whittaker is better than Rich Franklin ever was, and Adesanya does not have the record of achievement at middleweight that Anderson Silva does. But it looks like it could have some of these same historical patterns kind of at least echoing a little bit over the course of time, even through this middleweight division. It's interesting that you might be getting some of those same parallels.
I don't hate that parallel, but the main difference, Luke, is that I don't see how you could have expected. Now, I'd have to go back and revisit everybody's mindset and what people predicted, but with how freaking dominant Anderson Silva disposed of Franklin in the most brutal way in the first fight, I don't remember having any level of confidence that Franklin was going to turn that back and avenge it. I didn't expect an arguably just as lethal and violent finish, which was just brutal as shit a second time around. But I think the main difference is we expect this second fight to be far better than the first. True?
No doubt about it. I remember the rematch. I didn't have a ton of feeling that Rich Franklin was going to be able to do things a lot differently. However, I would tell you, it took a few fights, even including through his championship run by Anderson Silva, before people bought in. It took a long time, actually. People were not automatically of the belief, even after he was beating Dan Henderson and everybody else. There were still a few fights in where folks were kind of like, yeah, but could he beat this guy? Could he beat that guy?
It was that little shit stretch of like Talis Latis and Damian Maia and
even even when he first came to the UFC, remember Chris Lieben was like, I'm going to beat him and send him back to Japan. And of course, Chris Lieben got totally annihilated. What I mean to say is that little strain of thought existed early into his UFC run, even amidst all the success that he had. So we're not in that kind of territory. I just mean to say there are some interesting historical parallels. I would add on top of that, though, BC, I think that one thing that has been a part of the storyline that is quite true and reasonable is it looked to me like if Robert Whittaker just wanted to try to MMA strike with Adesanya, that's not a very winnable fight for him. I think Adesanya is probably too good on that level. So what he has said, and I think is, how he implements it will actually be what really decides this fight or not. He's just going to be much more of an MMA fighter. I'm going to be level changing. I'm going to make him work in the clinch. I'm going to make him wrestle, but I'm going to make him strike as well. I'm going to do this, that. I'm going to introduce all of the different elements of MMA as a larger complete fight to see what I can get done. If he ends up losing that, what it will end up meaning is that also Adesanya was able to level up in the same kind of way, maybe not the exact same portions of the game, but that he will have experienced, if he gets the W, he will have experienced the same kinds of growth and determination that a guy like Whitaker has put himself through. The thing we haven't really talked about is what happens to the division if Whitaker wins. Do they give Adesanya a third fight right away? They might actually, right?
They should. They might, and they should. And I've been fantasy matchmaking, for about a year and a half. The idea of Whitaker winning this, and then we get the trilogy, and this is, the rivalry of this division, historically, and up there with, Silva Sonnen, and I mean, this has that potential to be big, and certainly the storylines of has Adesanya improved anywhere on the level Whitaker has in the interim since they fought each other as a legitimate one. But Luke, I do want to say one thing. While clearly you're right, a completely well-rounded performance from Robert Whitaker, who I think is arguably the most well-rounded fighter in this game at the elite level, would be preferred, to have your best chance of beating Adesanya, and that was the reason why Whitaker was the betting favorite ahead of the first one. And I think even being an Adesanya fan, you had to kind of go, okay, there is a path here where if Robert Whitaker just comes out and shines everywhere, this may not be Adesanya's night. You sounded like you don't think it's possible for him to win a fight on the feet 5 rounds against Adesanya by boxing. Obviously, the threat of kicks and calf strikes, it's going to be a part of it, but just by his pure boxing ability, I will say, Luke, I feel like really some people are saying this 3-fight win streak is overrated by Whitaker. Like, who are these people? He showed like every single skill because he was forced to, and went 5 tactical rounds with 3 elite guys. In some of those performances, I know Gastelum's been way up and down since that Adesanya fight, but that was a great Gastelum that night. Like he put it back together. I think Whitaker, if he wants to, Luke, can go in there with the mindset of, how do I win 5 rounds against this guy? And I trust that his skill set has a very good chance of pulling that off.
I would argue that if you were advising Whitaker on best ways to win, you would not argue to him to just box without a second. You would not, you like, in other words, your point is he could box and win. That might be true. He might be able to box and win.
I mean, it comes down to his jab in that case, Luke. If he's using that as a direct weapon,
but what I'm saying is not what can he do to win. What are the things he could do that give him the very best chance of winning? And if I'm thinking about his very best chances of winning, a strict boxing game would not be that. It would actually encompass a larger array of things, like threats of the takedown or all the various tricks that Whitaker and his team have cooked up. I think that is his best chance. And how good do I think that is? I think if Adesanya is not on his game in the way, the very best of his game, he's going to lose that belt. That's how good I think Robert Whitaker is.
And obviously Whitaker's going to need the threat of, like you said, the complete game. But I think sometimes the fights end up going that way of just being a stand-up fight, and I think he's going to trust his chess skills in that regard, and I think he should. It's going to come down to that jab, but it's part of why you love this fight so damn much, and I think it's part of why the finish was so surprising. Yes, Adesanya had, in the first fight, had more success up to the stoppage point, of course, but you didn't see that coming at that moment, Luke. Am I wrong?
No. Well, he did drop him in the end of the first, so there is that, right?
Certainly, he had an advantage at that point in the fight. I'm just saying it felt abrupt. It felt, oh shit.
Yeah.
Look what he just did to Robert Whitaker. Like it was moved
back.
Well, the part about the fight that actually works in Robert Whitaker's favor is Adesanya was better that night, period. He just was better that night. But I really don't believe that was even close to the best Robert Whitaker, and it was a very limited Robert Whitaker. He didn't show a ton of his skills. I think Eugene Behrman even said it recently, and it's quite right. if you're Robert Whittaker, it has to suck that you lost the first fight, but the good part has to be that there are so many things you can do in the second fight that you never even had a chance to do in the first fight that are going to keep you safer and give you a better chance to win. So, like, if you're the Adesanya camp, dude, you got a lot of work you have to, like, have prepared for all the things that Robert Whittaker can throw at you. This one should be a lot different, a lot closer. I think it might be a nail-biter to the very end. I really believe that.
You know, Luke, sometimes these UFC pay-per-view cards are so stacked that there's, like, 4 or 5 competing storylines, from the main events and the title and the co-main event to, somebody's big return. This is the only storyline for this card, and probably rightfully so. And it gives them the focus, and the attention that this rematch deserves. But, like, there's almost no other storylines coming out of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although, in fairness, when you've got a main event this good, how much help does it, right? Like,
well, and by the way, some of those fights that could be taking storylines in this case are just complementing the main event when you've got Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson in such an important top 5,
right.
Producing maybe the next title contender fight. Very excited about that one.
That one is super interesting because both of those guys have kind of tasted the top of that division. Both of them had their moments where, they got bounced a little bit once they tried, but they're too good to be dismissed. And in the case of Brunson, appears to have really, Brunson has made the overall career reformation that Figueiredo made in the Moreno third fight, where he just kind of, I didn't change everything I did, but I dialed the intensity back a little bit, which allows me to make clearer, more focused, safer decisions, and it has elevated him to the
I
nth
think he
degree.
took this sport serious for the first time, and that sounds crazy when he was like, before that, already winning big fights and in big fights. But Luke, to be fair, Derek Brunson had a long run of kind of fighting like an asshole. Like, I always say that, and then people go, "Oh, that's so rude." But, like, he fought like an asshole against Robert Whittaker in round 1, Luke, and he got stopped, and it was almost like rightfully so. Yes, that's him dialing it back to your point, but I think he is focused on the game planning, mental side of the game.
Thank you.
For the first time at this level, and you're seeing the fruits of it. And shout out to him doing it at this age. And oh, by the way, Luke, not only are these two, late 30s middleweights, but, like, we know what's at stake in terms of potential title contention. Do you think Jared Cannonier's win over Kelvin Gastelum was any level of fool's gold based on Gastelum's up and downness? Because I came out of that fight thinking Cannonier has learned from the Robert Whittaker loss and maintained a very elite level of boxing and defense and really efficiency where I don't think he's out of the title conversation at this point.
Dude, remember in that fight with Whittaker, I know you're asking about the Gastelum fight. I share your sentiments exactly. And then on top of that, what I would add is, remember the Whittaker fight. Whittaker was kind of kicking his ass and nearly stopped him. But, dude, this is one thing that has defined Cannonier. It wasn't enough to help him get the W that night. However, he kind of rallied at the very, very end of that fight and had Whittaker, not won't say in trouble per se, but Whittaker had the situation where he nearly had this guy finished. And then Cannonier came back to life at the end of that fight. He is very, very tough, very perseverant. And the thing you're pointing out is he can take that kind of willpower and those experiences that he's had against quite literally championship level fighters, and then build on that with extra work with John Crouch in terms of the skill set that things need to bring himself along to have better success when he gets another run. Dude, Derek Brunson has the fight of his life on his hands, and
Luke,
I agree with you. So does Jared Cannonier.
When Cannonier authored that really incredible turnaround comeback story of cutting all the way down to middleweight and then knocking out those guys 3 in succession, it was like, what, Anderson Silva, David Branch, I forgot the third one. You kind of looked at him as like a Jessica Andrade. Like the power's going to be there at any point in the fight and he can knock out anybody. But do you see him as an elite 5-round, technical, make adjustments guy? I think at that point we didn't, but now that he's had the chance to show it, he's completely, I think, evolved from that way of thinking. I mean, this is a very, very good, powerful and dangerous, but smart fighter. So I really like Cannonier's chances against Brunson. Obviously, he'll be tested on the ground, and you love the style contrast and all that. But I expect a lot from this version of Cannonier. I think he's got a lot left. That's really the point of Brunson. I think he's got a lot left.
I think that's very fair. And as you indicated, kind of an older guy, but still quite with it. All right. With that in mind, it's time now for the viewers to ask us questions. We put up a post on Instagram every Sunday where we solicit them. It's time for DMs from Dawn.
Thank you.
And of course, you can always give us a follow at Morning Combat on Instagram. All right, BC, from Buzz the Blogger. Who has a higher ceiling, Shavkat Rakhmonov or Hamzat Chimaev?
I knew you'd come.
I love that question, and this is the natural comparison. And you got a lot of people saying they should fight each other next, which is that's wild, Luke. That's wild, bro. And I think the main difference between them, you asked that question earlier, the difference between them is that Chimaev's shown more against better competition. You know, that's really the main difference, although their game is different, obviously. But who has the brighter ceiling? I think you have to admit right now that in a one-night scenario, meaning if you put both of them in title fights tomorrow, I still like Chimaev's brand a little bit more in terms of what trusted and yeah, like I believe in his chances of winning a title tomorrow better. But long run of their career, Luke, I think Rakhmonov's the safer bet, the more long-term value of the two brands going up.
Yeah, like you said, it's really impossible to say with how little information we have. Chimaev does have better wins as a consequence of some of the opportunities he's had thus far, but I'll say this: I like Rakhmonov's game better, but if the question is who has a higher ceiling, and the answer is who's shown more to this point, with the information that we have, it would be Chimaev, but we have such little information that, like, I wouldn't, hardly would be surprising if he ends up being better. But I just mean we can't really say for sure right now. But obviously, both of these guys are going to be in title fights at some point.
Admit it, you would be giddy as a schoolgirl if Shavkat Rakhmonov moved to the Oceanic region and joined CKB, Luke. You would have a city-kicking boner, Luke. You would be so freaking happy. Luke, you would walk around
I don't know what that would do for his game exactly. I don't know if that's the best.
It's not about him, Luke. It's about you right now, okay?
All right, I'm just going to ignore that. From Joby the Hut, this person wrote San Alvey. With Sam Alvey on a 0-0-1 streak, what are the worst and most surprising losing streaks that you can remember across both boxing and
you know what name comes to mind, Luke? Kenan Barao. And it was Uriah Faber who said on my old CBS podcast that he believes Barao fell off the cliff while, pound for pound number 2 and still in his late 20s because of the USADA era in the sport. You can argue that amongst yourselves, but that fall from grace and just knockout after gas out, after thorough decision loss, after knockout, is what I mean. Look, how does that even happen? Like, Johnny Hendricks had a somewhat similar, but Johnny Hendricks wasn't pound for pound number, Dana making standing outside with the sign, right? Saying vote for Barao or perish. I mean, do you compare that to anybody, Luke? That was like night and day.
So I compare that to anybody.
Because you've seen it happen when it's self-induced. Like Chavez Jr. or somebody, like you like that. You get that. You can understand.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Has there ever been boxing losing streaks like that? How many losses in boxing can you have before people just say, "Fuck it, we don't want to watch it"?
That's a good point. I mean, it didn't have that many losses, but Roy Jones had a couple of those runs in the second half of his career, like after the knockout of Tarver and Johnson in succession. But then when he started going up to like cruiserweight and just getting sent to hell in Russia, but that was never 7 in a row. Doesn't typically get there, Luke. I mean, we have.
Here's
seen
the thing,
guys...
because the reason why you can get to 7-0 and or 0-7 or whatever in UFC is that they still have a need for content production overall, and so they need manpower that is sort of more or less not readily available, but available for this slot and that slot, and to fill in here and fill in there. And so you can kind of, even if you don't have the winningest record, I don't know about 7 losses, but up and down, let's say, you still fill slots for them in ways that are convenient for their matchmaking and content production schedule, you can hang on. Whereas in boxing, it's a little bit more of eat what you kill.
Yeah.
If you've lost that much, you can't.
Well,
there's not a lot of interest.
To be clear, this does happen because there are guys' jobs who are only to make prospects go rounds. And sometimes those guys doing that used to be names, and they don't care about ending their career with 7, 8 losses or, 10 losses in 11 fights or whatever, because their job is kind of to go out there and lose by decision or get knocked out. It's just, have we ever seen like a fall from grace on that? I mean, Leon Spinks was close, Luke, winning the gold medal, beating Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight championship when he's 7-0, and then just completely falling apart in drugs and getting knocked out every time he stepped up. And I mean, that's probably the only major comparison.
Fair enough. All right. From Greg Leach 99. I don't even know what to say about this. Thoughts on Dana White's decision to let the Nelk boys sign a fighter and sponsor/promote them, despite still not allowing fighters to acquire sponsors of their own. Why am I supposed to give a fuck about this?
Yeah. This sounds very, how much I don't care about NFTs, Luke, or Dogecoin, you know what I mean? Like, this fits into that. But why Dana White does have, it's like Dana White's got these celebrity friends that he, like, supports or keeps, propped up and relevant. And sometimes you get it. You're like, oh, Kid Rock, yeah, I guess I get that, right? I don't get some of these other ones, like, man, he loves the damn Nelk boys. Luke, what are Nelk boys again?
I don't know. I don't. We're too old, and I'm sure their podcast is much bigger than ours, so they're going to be cooler. And I don't know. But here's my point. It's like, oh, they're gonna a guy who or a fighter who is a Nelk boy sponsored whatever is going to come through Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, and I'm like, okay. They're probably still going to sign a bad contract. The Nelk boys will probably pay them more than UFC does. And either they're good enough to stick around or they're not. Like, either way.
So are we supposed to be afraid that, like, is the future of this, and next we'll have Howlerhead signed fighters, and then we'll have, like, is this where this is going, Luke? Blue Chew?
Well, the question is, he writes, despite still not allowing fighters to acquire sponsors of their own. You can have sponsors of your own. There's just limits over what you can show on anything where it's a UFC broadcast or event, right? So that you could still have them. Here's a case where the Nelk boys will be able to advertise that they have a fighter on the UFC. This will be a noted thing on the broadcast, which I guess the UFC, I don't know this, but my hunch is, BC, the UFC just is not doing this for free. They're probably paying for the right to do that. Why is it happening? Because they're paying for the right to do that. That's
it's just like when your father-in-law owns a business and you have him sponsor your little league team. This is what
exactly.
That feels like.
And also, it's like, dude, did you guys hear about this unfair labor practice that the fighters aren't getting paid enough? It's like, yeah, we've heard of this. What would you like me to keep saying about this that I've not said 50 million times? It is an unequal situation that will not be rectified until someone rectifies it. So what do I think about it? And I think it's Monday. That's what I think about it. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
All right.
Luke, would you say, though, even though we all, grunted at the Reebok deal and what it meant for taking money and sponsors away from fighters, and we don't want that leverage to be gone, but do you agree that when you go back on UFC Fight Pass and, you're researching for the next fight or you're just watching for fun, when you see a pre-Reebok era fight and you see the banner with the millions of sponsors and you see the condom depot and all the, stuff that we've laughed at through the years and the crazy shorts, that it looks AAA baseball compared to at least what, one of the main focuses of going the uniformed full Reebok route was to be uniformed and aligned in one, but also to look cleaner. It's much cleaner, Luke, and it makes me hate Venom this era so much more, because even though it's not far from the Reebok look, it just looks cheap and like spandex underwear.
I don't think that it looks all that much better. I think that the cage still being littered with ads kind of undercuts that argument completely.
Okay.
And also, I find it to be beside the point. I know what you're saying. Like, does it look?
Yeah, I'm not arguing financially.
Yeah. Somewhat, but not. I don't really. Not for me. All right. From Cubbies fan 80. BC, if you guys were forced to participate in a Winter Olympic competition, oh fuck me, against a fellow donk of your abilities, so relatively even in abilities, which event would you choose? I don't watch the Winter Olympics.
Tribulations and
what are Winter Olympic events?
Part of the gods.
Skiing, ice skating.
Can I do the one where I ski and then shoot shit and then ski again?
Biathlon,
Yeah.
Hockey, all kinds of luge, skeleton, bobsled type jams. What else is there for men, Luke?
I don't know. Let's see. Okay,
I've never been a huge
figure.
Winter Olympic guy, to be fair, except for when there's like USA, Canada hockey, must see it. You know, like that kind of stuff.
The answer to this is easy because I'm not doing skeleton where I go face first or luge where I'm going, the speed of light and shit. I'm not doing that. I'm not going back in time. I'm not doing that. However, curling. Curling, I would try my hand at curling.
See, curling used to be cool to talk about or imagine doing that, and then it got really lame, and then suddenly like moms are making curling jokes, and then it was just sort of like, okay, it's like Mambo number 5. I can never hear it again or talk about it.
Okay, but dude, the other ones we're gonna get paralyzed. Alpine skiing, bobsled, cross country skiing. We'll have a heart attack. We wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Figure skating, freestyle skating, ice hockey, luge, Nordic combine, short track speed skating.
I suck at this. No wonder why I suffer with winter depression. I don't ski.
And dude, it gets worse. Hold on, it gets worse. 4 more. Skeleton, ski jumping. Dude, she will die ski jumping.
Oh, God, hell no.
Snowboard, and then speed skating. Dude, I'm fucking curling. I'm not doing that shit.
I don't think there's actually an event that I can actually pull off, Luke. That I can. So you're saying like me against Damien the Donk in?
Yeah.
There's no like winter judo or anything, Luke. There's no like. Yeah. All right.
Is there winter podcasting? I could do that reasonably well, I suppose.
Can we hang out in the Olympic Village and watch everybody just orgy each other? Isn't that what happens there?
Yes, I want to do that. All right, last but certainly not least, from Telvin Kipapa,
Bengals,
it's our guy
from Hawaii, Luke, right?
Yes. Bengals or Rams? Tell me you're not cheering for the fuckboy Rams.
I don't care. I really don't care.
Dude, the Rams are owned by Stan Kroenke, okay? Who is one of the worst owners in all of sports and has run the great Arsenal franchise into the fucking ground. Arsenal was one of the great teams and this, I guess, is still top 8-ish or something.
Is
one
the
of the great
feel for
teams.
your argument to F this team European soccer? Because if it is, Luke, we could just keep going. All right.
Dude. Well, here's my point. If
I mean,
a guy
really?
is an
Soccer,
if a
Luke?
guy is
Soccer?
an owner
I mean,
in
come on.
sports,
We're
hold on,
men
if a
here,
guy is
Luke. We're all
if a
men
guy
here.
is
Soccer?
if a guy is an owner in
Soccer?
sports,
Really?
hold on. If a guy is an owner in sports and his first bit is to ruin a once great franchise, and his other one is to take the Rams out of St. Louis so he could build a fucking taxpayer-funded stadium in L.A. for a team that the city doesn't even really want. Yeah, dude, you got to have a little character and cheer for the fucking Bengals, I feel like.
That's Joe Burrow, right? That's the guy who smokes
Yes.
weed. Yeah. I'll cheer for that.
We'll cheer for Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah.
Yes, count me in.
Just to shut up those stupid European soccer bosses, Luke, okay?
But dude, it's not even about that. You could ignore everything he did there and just talk about him as an owner in the NFL. He's a fucking terrible owner, dude.
Luke, how come you're not boycotting the Beijing Olympics due to human treatment?
I am. I haven't watched 1 second of it. I refuse to watch it. And the next World Cup too in Qatar. I'm not watching that shit. Fuck that.
You used to live in Qatar.
Yeah, it's not the place itself. It's the government basically had a bunch of people killed in order to make stadiums for the tournament. It's
I mean,
really
we're
bad.
talking about, potential dock options. What about BC and DC, LT and CT?
Yeah, dude, you're a hoe when it comes to this.
How about
You've been
how about
invited to come
MK
down
and
several
Qatar?
times, and every time you have some cockamamie story about why you can't do it.
How about MK and Qatar, Luke? All right. How about that dock? All right.
How about you go there and get your head cut her off, that motherfucker? How about that? Do that. All right. With that in mind, it's time for your shit, good sir. Let's
Yeah, that's what we do. We scour the globe for the highs and lows, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between of combat sports and beyond. This is Luke's first time doing this in like 3 weeks. Have you seen this?
I'm going to smoke my vape while I do this. By the way, there's no weed in this. It's just a regular old lung.
Wow, this is such a dad guy flex. Like, hold on, guys, I got a new convertible here.
Have increased in numbers.
What's up, fellow kids? All right, there we go. All right, yeah. Luke, we
It's
start
how
UFC.
do you do, fellow kids? Get it right, fuckface.
Yeah. UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. How about middleweight Chidi Bang Jokuni with the 16-second debut, Luke, and KO of Marc-Andre Barriel?
I didn't understand the leg kick there. I didn't set it up, and you did it in punching range against a guy this good. That's just no. Yeah.
So is that
not gonna
pronounced
go well.
Njakuni? Jakuni? I'm all over it.
So the way they say it on the broadcast, so again, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong too, but the way they say it on the broadcast is Njokuani.
Njokuani. Okay. I like the nickname Bang, Luke. All right,
Yeah, it's
Dwayne
awesome.
Bang Ludwig. I like that
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great nickname.
All right, Luke. Also, light heavyweight Jailton Almeida showed off his dance moves following his first-round stoppage of Danilo Marks. How about this, Luke? This guy's going after it, man.
Bro, this guy is a super athlete too.
I mean, this guy's like,
This is me
bang,
walking
bro.
to this is me walking to the commode when MK is over.
Look, I think this guy should be nicknamed Bang. Look at this, right?
Yeah, again, that's me walking to go take a dump when BC has finally stopped talking.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, could they
Luke,
turn on the fire? Oh, my fire alarms are going on because why would my family ever do anything to protect the sanctity of this broadcast?
Luke,
Hey, by all
I
means.
think the vape set it off, Luke. Okay.
I doubt the vape.
All right,
I went
you
vape
know,
all day yesterday.
This is like, yeah. I mean, this is pretty ironic, don't you think?
No, they're cooking out there. That's what they're doing.
Okay, Luke. Middleweight Brian Battle was talking with Michael Bisping following
This
his
is fun.
decision
This is a
win
fun day.
over
I'm having a fun
Trayshawn
time.
Gore. That noise. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world, Luke?
I'm having a fun time. I'm glad that they keep cooking out there.
Let's go to the videotape.
How much did the eye bother you?
Man, who needs 2 eyes?
Tell me about it.
I can still see through it. It's a little swollen. Hopefully it'll get me a couple free drinks tonight, you know what I'm saying? But, nothing crazy.
Look, that was a good one. That was
a decent joke. Bisping has a sense of humor. It's good to see. That was good.
Battle's a savage, by the way. He came from the Contender Series. I saw his episode that time. He goes after, or was he from Ultimate Fighter? Which one was it?
He was the Ultimate Fighter. He actually had his trophy. I guess it was a point of contention. I did not watch a single second of the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, he was from Tough. My bad.
I guess it was a single. I guess he wanted to show that like he was the actual Tough champ.
All right, Luke. Let's go to the post-fight press conference. Here's Sean Strickland talking to John Morgan of Blue Shirt fame.
I saw this.
By the way, you only fat shame people you care about. If you ever want to work out, bro, you let me know. Where do you live at? You a Vegas man? You a Vegas guy?
I'm a Vegas guy.
Bro, you come train me. I'm gonna help you out, dude.
Dude, get to drink beer afterwards?
Yeah,
That's
dude. Yeah, you're gonna make your dick at least 2 inches bigger, bro. I promise you. Every time I make weight, dude, my dick is at least 1 inch bigger, and I got a little dick, so I take every inch I get. Appreciate me for it.
very tempting.
Luke, that's probably like the 5th weirdest interview he's had this week. I mean, did you see him talking about the way Oscar Willis dresses? And, dude, why are people going after...
That's not even the weirdest thing he said for this post-fight scrum. Later, he was like, I like Mick Maynard, I have a good relationship. He's like, I'm a company man. I will suck that D. You just let me know. I'm like, okay, all right.
Andy King, baby. Luke, why are people going after John Morgan lately? Like, he left it off, and no one wants to be in that spot. But, like, people are John Jones in him lately, Luke.
Listen, man, there's just no... If you want to be MMA media, fighters are going to take shots at you. There's just nothing else you can do about it.
I mean, it's payback for all the shit you say on this podcast about them, Luke.
But motherfucker, you're the one who is racking up the enemies. I'm actually the one who's, like, mending fences.
Luke, speaking of bang featherweights, Julian Erosa and Steven Patterson, they banged, Luke. They gave us a batshit war, and it was
This
great.
fight was
You remember
great.
this?
Yeah, this was a absolute... here's what I liked about it. Erosa was probably the better fighter, but he had a kind of a fatal flaw that Peterson found, and it gave him total life, and then it kind of evened the fight out. And then it just became basically like, who wanted it more? And you could have gone either way, although I thought Erosa had done the better work. But Jesus Christ, this ended up being a great fight, much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Caveman FC, main event worthy, no question about it. Luke, let's catch up with other two-sport athletes beyond Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. Let's go with first boxer Canelo Alvarez at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am $1 Million Hole-in-One event. Here's a par 3 tee-off from Big Red.
Now, I know nothing about golf. How good of a golfer is he? Oh, shit!
So he came inches
You gotta be kidding me.
from winning $1 million with the hole-in-one on that hole, Luke. And right before he hit it, like seconds before, Jim Nantz was interviewing him like in front of the whole crowd. And he was like, how much do you play, Canelo? Canelo goes, 4 hours a day. And Nantz is like, oh, yeah, right. Like, come on, don't you box? He's like, yes, but boxing training 5 hours a day, golf 4 hours a day. Like Canelo's like, no, bro, I'm coming. I'm coming on the
Dude,
links, okay?
I mean, I know nothing about golf to say if he looks good or not, but he seems to be the genuine article, man. That's pretty impressive.
Yep. You think him and MJ should golf together, right?
Are his eyes going to come back as jaundiced from years of alcohol abuse?
Yeah. All right, other two-sport athletes this weekend, Luke, former cruiserweight champion, now heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk suited up for the Ukrainian second-tier soccer team FC Policia. And big number 17 there, Luke, got a nice pass in front of the goal. Let's check out his skills there.
That's a fucking huge soccer player.
Yeah, 6'4" and a half, 200 plus.
What do they got him? They got
screen.
him. I can't quite tell what position he's playing here, but
He's like a forward. Here's off the side throw, and they set him up here, Luke. Right here. Look at give me.
God damn it, Usyk.
You know, Luke, he may have to stick to his day job, but this next guy, Luke, YouTuber turned boxer turned promoter, Jake Paul, at MSG to promote Serrano and Katie Taylor, and from way downtown, Luke, bang! Wow, Luke, wow, the Rifleman.
I mean, it's a little much with a celebration, but okay.
I mean, that's so much better than Conor McGregor's 3 at MSG. Believe
It
that.
is better. Well, that's not saying much. I mean, that's not saying
You're
much.
from
But yes, it is
Brideholm,
better.
right?
Francis
You're the
Ngannou
adventurer Father
met
Armin told
Shaq,
me about.
Luke, not Shaq Majori, the real Shaq. And look at the ease that he's handling the diesel.
Wow, dude. Yeah, Francis is a mutant. He's the strongest motherfucker on earth. I'm convinced of this.
Yeah,
He's just insane.
Dude, think about it. How many people have ever done that to Shaquille O'Neal? Like, he was actually kind of humbled right there.
Yeah, he just high crotch lifts him there. And not even like with a proper high crotch technique either. He didn't really get his elbow fully
I mean,
deep
imagine
on it.
you're Shaq. You're 7'1" and jacked, and at your physical peak, you're a freak athlete like pro sports rarely has ever seen in the history of life, and you've got a hammer down there, Luke, and you've just spent your life just physically dominating people.
Yeah.
And then Big Frank walks up.
Yeah, he's probably got an eel in his pants to borrow from Joe Rogan there. Let me ask you this, though. How much do you think Shaq weighs? Like 350, 380?
Oh, God. Even though he's muscular, yeah, definitely. 350, yeah.
I mean, that's just 350 he
325,
picked up
how
like
about
nothing, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, Luke, speaking of hoops legends, I don't know if you saw this video making the rounds. They found middle school footage of LeBron James. Luke, he was just as dominant back then as he is today. Check this out.
Fuck them kids. Bah, eat shit.
Luke, you gotta admit, when you're at like family reunion and there's a hoop and there's like uncles and cousins and aunts playing, you turn into Magic Johnson and you are going like around the back and just clowning people like it's and one, you know?
Yeah, I've been trying to teach my daughter how to dribble. I steal the ball from her like, who's one of the all-time leader in steals in the NBA? I don't even
John
know who.
Stockton.
Stockton, yeah. I don't quite have his insane anti-vaccine views, but I'll take his I'll take his stealing skills when it comes to 3-year-olds.
Look, they were like season ticket holder, no more. All right, okay. Luke, we have done too much real sports. Let's get drunk people involved. Luke, you ever been at a bar and you just go full on Coyote Ugly like this guy looking? Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh shit! There went all the proper 12.
Oh boy, is that a tattoo or is that chest hair, Luke? I can't tell. But
I don't know. Hopefully
he's
he died.
down and he's not coming back. All right, back to the cage. LFA 23. Luke, sometimes you're the Hammer, and sometimes you're Logan Nail, who needed just seconds to get this TKO in round 1. That's some brutal shit, Luke.
Yeah, dude. Regional MMA produces. I mean, you can see this stuff in the UFC, but regional MMA, it's like this is just how shit goes every other fight.
This guy's name is Logan Nail. Do you think he'd be abhorred by my toenail situation, Luke? I mean, to be fair,
If he's Logan Nail, are you Diseased Nail?
Jaundice Nail, yeah, I guess.
Are you
I guess.
Fungus Nail?
All right. Hey, Luke, let's play your favorite game in the world. Rate That Tat. MMA edition. We start with Marlon Chito Vera going all head scorpo
Now,
on.
Marlon has good tattoos.
Luke, you into that head scorpion? Wow, that's
I
aggressive.
gotta say, that's not for me. That is
Spoons
an
in the area are
Cheeto is a tough bastard, boy. Let me tell you, that is.
I mean, his tats already said something. That says something, Luke. That says that, you know, that says I could rape you in jail, Luke. That's what it says. Okay, now.
Yeah, that's a strong. So, I mean, that is that's a no bullshit message on that one.
All right, let's go to the champ again, Davison Figueiredo. Luke, I must have got DM'd about 50 times when you were on vacation. People wanting your take on this Mr. Hebos looking tattoo of the championship plate.
It's busted. It's pretty busted, unfortunately.
I kind of like it. Maybe I like this Brazilian style, Luke. Maybe that's my.
Here's the problem. If you look at, for example, I mean, it's not clean work at all. The problem is, for example, the shading is inconsistent. The line work is not, like the U and the F and the C don't have clean line work. And more to the point, look at something like the tip of the green part at sort of the top of the tattoo. It's wider in terms of the black underneath than the blue part. So the thing is
Well, Luke,
misaligned
the tip
inside
is
the
normally
tattoo.
wider, to be fair.
You see, you don't always have to make terrible jokes. You can choose to make them on occasion, and therefore limit the impact that they have on the show.
One day I'll
listen,
teach you the first rule of improv, Luke. One day.
Yeah,
All right.
it's not great. It's not great. The significance is extraordinary, but it's not great.
Luke, it's been a long time since I turned off your pilot light during this segment, Luke. It's happy to know it's still possible. Hey, let's, Luke, speaking of you, I found the perfect birthday cake. What's your birthday again, Luke?
This place should be
August
safe.
5th.
August 5th, you'll be looking at this, Luke.
That'd be the best cake I got in years. Don't threaten me with a good time, asshole.
Yeah, ICP for life, Luke, okay? All right. We talked about the NFL playoffs, Luke. Apparently they were the best of all time. I just didn't watch a ton of it. But these fans did. What do you think about this Bengals fans beard celebrating all the way to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, this is excellent. Not just because he did the beard with the 6 beers, which is, by the way, it's good that, 5 of his friends can all join him. But he did the face paint correctly, like, in conjunction with it. He didn't mail in the look. The whole look is done correctly.
Yeah, I mean, look, is there any chance that the people that paint their face for NFL games and have season tickets, like, you could trust them to babysit in a pinch?
No, if you paint your face like that and you go to an NFL game, it's a guarantee there's a tax lien on one of your properties.
All right, I guess that's better than sex offender, Luke. All right, let's keep it going. Luke, tough L's up in Buffalo in the playoffs, and also for this couple, Luke.
Please let them buy the farm. Please let them buy the farm. Yes.
Oh, God. Wow. You almost had to talk salad there, Luke. Wow, all right. Hey, Luke, Steelers fans celebrated Big Ben's retirement with this little skirmish. How about this for a finishing move?
Why'd you take the hat off? Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
I like how the other person just kind of like does it like your big sister, like big, pushing you in the face.
Yeah, but Palomalu's not done taking L's, Luke. He's getting. Oh God, he's getting.
Troy cut his hair and has just fallen off since then. Palomalu really used to be such a beast on the field, and now he's just a decrepit white guy.
Yeah, Luke. NFL fans don't care. They'll do fan-on-fan violence. Let's keep it going here, Luke.
Let me ask you, why would you ever go to an NFL game? I mean, I just couldn't even imagine what could compel you to want to go to one of those fucking things.
Well, let's go to the LA Rams crowd, Luke, okay?
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, let's go. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God, that Titans fan, Luke.
That Titans fan was like planking down those fuck. Oh, no.
Oh, God, go full screen. We got to go full screen.
Yeah. Well, let's break down this meeting of the Mensa minds here.
Oh,
this is me after my mentions after I tweet something totally innocuous.
It's not over here, though. There's some ram on ram.
Oh, he just steps on the head.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, why would you go to an NFL game? I just could not imagine the reason.
That footage says it all, Luke. All right, hey, let's go to the gym. I haven't seen a good weightlifting fail in a while, Luke.
I love those.
Yeah.
Let's see
Who's
some.
this
let's,
guy
let's,
while
let's see
he-
some.
Well, he kissed the ground, Luke. Wow.
You know what? Credit to this guy for actually uploading it. I actually commend him. Not a great job in catching. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what it looked like for a second. The first time I saw it, I was like, is he trying to catch it in the snatch? He's trying to clean, and he's got the straps on. He's just not giving himself a lot of...
Gaff
No, that
asking
was
us
a
if-
snatch. It was a snatch because he tries to go behind the head, and his hands are way too close together. Like, what the fuck? And you got straps on. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Gaff wanted to know if that's Jimmy Crute of UFC fame.
No, Jimmy Crute's strong as an ox. This dude is just some random donk in his garage.
How is he not knocked out from
Look,
that? Look at the
Look,
at the
look,
whiplash.
look.
Oh.
Yeah, look. Well, because he's got a cranium the size of the Great Wall of China.
Well, look.
But hold on, keep playing it. Keep playing it. Watch when he closes it up. Mouth breathing into the phone. Look at it.
I mean, look, he's concussed. Let's be fair, all right?
Just oh.
Well, look, that wasn't the grossest white guy move this week from somebody hopefully not concussed. Let's go to the massage table. Stipe Miocic, the former champion, posting this, Luke. He was getting a nude massage, and then, like, you walking through first class on the way to coach, he just crop-tusted this fella, Luke. I don't know why we're watching this. I mean, that is...
Relief.
I mean, who posts that, Luke?
Can we just move to the next slide?
I mean, there's proof, Luke. Stipe tapped. Yes, he did. Wow. Okay, Luke. Hey, T-shirt of the week time, Luke. I call this guy the OG of BDE.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's a hero to many, including myself and you. And I want him at every party I'm ever at for the rest of my life.
I mean, he's been gone for a while, but Luke Big Dick is back in town, and he's just
When are we going to
playing.
get
Look, you think he's a snowbird, and when he gets back, to Florida in the winter, it's like, okay, it's Big Dick's here, right?
Creatures.
I got a pension.
Who was it? Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick. This is Nick Foles in like 40 years, just walking around town.
Whew. But it's not the weirdest T-shirt this week, Luke. That would go to this young fella on the left. I don't know where parenting is taking us.
All right, well that's a bit much for a young man to be wearing, or a young woman. I don't even really know what the situation is here, but that's there's a parenting learning lesson here that needs to happen.
All right, Luke, white trash move of the week goes to this Jenga playing hero. Check this out. We're at the wedding. Yeah!
I would like to hate on this man. I would like to hate on this man a lot, and I was about to, but I gotta admit. That's pretty slick. I gotta admit, that's pretty fucking slick. I mean, this guy had everything you would want to hate about him. Worst haircut, dressed like the absolute worst, acting like the absolute worst. And that was the best. That was honestly the best.
Where I come from, this guy is a hero, Luke. There's no question about it.
Dude, this is your town mayor. Just admit it.
Wow, okay, thank you. Luke, it's knockout of the week time. You can now call this kid Luca Brazzi because after meeting this deal, he sleeps with the fishes, Luke.
Yeah, I don't understand these people.
He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up.
So the eel electrocuted him? Is that the idea? What happened?
I don't know if it's an eel. That was the first thing that came to my head. This is this KO1, Luke. This is not, no count needed.
Here's the thing. If you try to fuck with animals and then you fall into the water, I think it should just be you just drown. Like that's just goodbye.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest one-shot KO of the week. Here's an attempt at an interesting kick here, Luke. Let's go to the bathroom. There's nothing like drunk chicks, Luke.
Yeah, dude, they should try one of these kicks in the UFC.
Yeah.
Can't believe they have. I mean, by the way, she almost got both of them. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
She almost took out two there. Bah.
Luke, you always see videos with suspect karate techniques on McDojo Life Speed. Here's what they got this time.
Oh, God. What are we doing? I mean, we're running over children for training. Is that what we're doing?
Karate for defense purposes only. Luke, okay? Yeah.
Dude, they've gone from wax off, wax on to, yo, let me just run over you with my motorcycle. Mr. Miyagi, what will this teach me? Shut the fuck up, Daniel-san.
Luke, it wouldn't be a great have you seen the shit without some elder abuse. So let's go to Grandma taking the youngin' for a tour of the old firehouse, Luke.
And just buys the farm. Dude, you would be surprised. You know what gets most young and old people alike, as this video attests to?
What?
Inertia. Inertia just kills them, right? Because they don't pick their feet up. They just keep moving in the same direction, and then they end up doing... I can't tell you how many times my daughter just not looking where she's going, and then the inertia carrying her forward. And she ends up tripping over like 500,000 things that she left on the floor.
Well, hopefully, Luke, when she goes out in the snow this winter, she doesn't trip over this.
Well, it's nice that you made that kind of joke about my 2-year-old daughter. It really is an important thing that you did there.
Yeah, one of the worst segues we've had, Luke. Okay,
that was a really, really bad one, I think you just did there. I think we should just move. Although it's funny, the picture, I understand the joke. It's a cock with some balls. I get that. But
I mean, it was a transition, Luke. All right.
Yeah, I think we should just keep transitioning. Is what I would say. Just keep doing it.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, Luke, we'll close with this. This is where hopefully you'll find yourself shortly after the show ends.
Someone on the commode.
This is a bad time to have guests.
Oh God.
We're under attack.
Dude, I didn't know they had pictures and video of heaven.
Plague-spreading demon is controlling the nearby monsters.
Why is there a random Obama poster in the back?
Ignites the powder.
Shout out to Cypress Hill on Instagram, which has nothing but these videos over and over again. And
people say this is a waste of marijuana, and I challenge that very much. This is an excellent use of marijuana.
Well, Luke, poor transitions or not, that's the shit of the week. There you go.
Very good. Before we get to our Rogan odds and ends, you want to give us your other odds and ends that you pulled with some of your interviews that you've done.
Yeah, look, here's the deal. Does anybody want us talking about fighter pay every episode for a half hour? No. But I do have and I get what you said earlier about, well, what do you want me to say? This is what I'm always going to say. They deserve better, but it's up to them to take that ball and run with it. And I agree. But let me throw to two different clips I had. So I've got some interviews that are either out or still coming out this week on youtube.com/morningcombat. Robert Whitaker, Derek Lewis, and also a very good one with Anthony Pettis, who's promoting his first card this weekend on UFC Fight Pass. And great chat. Anyway, Luke, I asked them about fighter pay. Here's two of their responses, and I just want to kind of ask you a point question, boss. Let's go to it then. The champ in your division is Ngannou still. He wrestles, as you mentioned. He keeps the belt. But look, he's in a lot of other kind of headlines, labor disputes, contracts, all that. I want to give you your chance to react to it, but I'm not trying to trap you. I understand you can say what you can say, what's comfortable for you and your stance. But when you watch Francis take this stand, are you cheering for him? Do you think it's too risky? What do you think about it?
I don't care. I don't know how his contract situation is. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors and everything with his camp, and so I really don't know.
That's Derek Lewis. And also Robert Whitaker.
You wanted zero part of
Commander
that.
is defeated.
Let's see if Robert Whitaker
transport the
takes
wounded and repair
the
the damaged
opportunity
areas.
or the bait, however you look
came
at
at
this.
just the right time.
You don't make a lot of headlines
To stop the
talking
plague
trash,
from
not your
spreading.
style. You don't make a lot of headlines complaining, but when you see a contemporary, an elite champion in Francis Ngannou, and the walk he's going through publicly for fighters' rights, how do you respond when you watch that?
Mate, that is a tricky question. That is a tricky question because
Why are the
what do I even say?
Some of those guards have been afflicted.
That's a loaded question. It's
very loaded, very loaded. Yeah, I mean, way more loaded than the question about nipples. To be fair, it was wrapped a little tighter too. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have too much information on the whole matter at all. I've just been focusing on myself, focusing on the training, focusing on getting ready for the fight, because the fight's only a week and a bit away. And And
fought the
and I
demons
don't
until
really
the end.
keep myself up to date with
Like
the
the
news
proud
or anything
border
like that
guards
anyway.
they
I kind
were.
of just hunker down in the room, in the fort, and just get on my way. So, not really.
I mean, are you saying you're happy with what you've accomplished and the wage you're earning and your battle is yours? Is that how you sort of look at it?
That's mate.
I mean, we can go back to nipples. I didn't want to take you down this long dark alley if you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
But Luke, for more on Israel Adesanya's right nipple, you can check that out at youtube.com/morningcombat. So why do I throw that out there, Luke? Because like journalists asking fighters about it isn't going to go away, but like journalists talking about it is really the ceiling of our responsibility. So
Right.
it was fun. I saw the response to me asking those questions in a quick look at the comments to be completely polarizing, of people saying, damn, those fighters have no idea how to help themselves. They completely just bricked and froze when asked about it and acted dumb. And then you get the other half of, why is BC, Helwaniing this as it may be.
Dude,
what is the responsibility?
Here's the thing. Like, your questions were, in terms of like how justified were they? Utterly justified. There's a couple things I think to keep in mind. Right, you're absolutely right. Like, dude, it's not the media's job to file a lawsuit for the fighters for pay. It's not the job of us to go to the Hill and lobby for the Ali Act. It's not our job to, whip up support for a union and vote. That's up to them. We can't take that path for them. Whatever one they want to take, it's up to them. I don't know what the right answer is. They have to decide for themselves. Our job is to talk about it, and as long as it's a relevant issue, which it will be for the foreseeable future, we will. However, at some point, while the fans don't have the right to say, because we don't like a question, you should take it out. But you also have to recognize at some point you may not be spending your time most valuably going to those questions with every single fighter, including even elite ones, because a lot of them are going to be in a position where they don't want to change anything for fear of changing how they're paid and security and everything else.
Safely.
So you just kind of have to ask yourself, is it worth it every time? But is it a fair question? It's totally fair.
I certainly believe it's fair, but I also understand the relationship between the two. It's why, media and fighters should be cordial, but not, friends or best
Buddies,
friends or whatever,
right.
Because it's our job to create clicks. That's a current headline right now. But I just wonder what their role right now, given that opportunity, whether it's interviewing with me or whoever, what their role should be using that platform. Because Luke, if there was something going on at Showtime with a big name person, we wouldn't want to probably, or be it wouldn't be a good look to air that out publicly and debate that. So I get you're not going to just take that mic and go, yeah, you know what, F Dana and Ngannou's right. Well, you do have an opportunity to say something.
Yeah,
however you want to use the value
unless
of
you're
that.
really committed to the cause in the way that Ngannou has made himself, and that's a choice that he made. This is the reason why a lot of fighters don't. They don't because they feel like they're going to get themselves in trouble if they do. They feel like they're going to create issues with the matchmakers, especially like right now where he's on the cusp of a title shot. Does he really want to rock the boat in one of these scenarios? I grant that he's already kind of at the precipice of having some leverage, but a lot of these guys, it really is the way that they are. Here's the thing: is John Jones, for example, poor? He's not.
There we go, Luke. We're back to you. You're back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He's not poor by any stretch of the imagination. The argument would be he just didn't get paid what he was supposed to, but he's not poor. So I think a lot of these guys, these elite guys like Robert Whittaker, they're not making bad money relative to the rest of the population. They're going to be in the top 1% in terms of overall earnings. And I think a lot of them are like, best leave well enough alone. For a guy like Francis Ngannou, who's got a different sensibility and a different perspective, that's not enough for him. But I can understand how fighters arrive in both perspectives.
I mean, the difference between if there was something going on in this, in our own companies, and it just wouldn't be good PR to talk about it, is this. It affects them so much. So it's like.
And by the way, people have asked, like, what about you guys? Well, first of all, me and BC are employees. We have protections if we want, number one, that the fighters don't. And number two, BC and I know exactly what we make. We've told each other, and we've used it as a way to make sure that we get maximum amount of money. Like, BC knows what my paychecks look like, and for the most part, vice versa. And that really helped both of us get a sense of how much we should ask for and how much we should get. So, like, do we do that? If, by the way, if any other media member wants to know what I make, I'm happy to tell them. Like, you should know those things.
I just, I just can't see those responses being the best move. There's got to be a middle ground where you don't meddle and don't get yourself in trouble, but you also stand up firm for your profession and what is going on right now. And I mean, would it kill them? I mean, what's the blowback for saying, you know what, this is a brave move by Francis. He's walking his own path, but we all understand it and we all support him. Is that
maybe there is or there isn't? I mean, it's for something that innocuous. But dude, the UFC, you know, and Dana, like these guys, you know, it's amazing that they're very pro. We're big free speech guys, but they're not. They don't like media reports about things they do critically, and they're very, very aggressive, either about, in certain cases, trying to undercut those reports or to make sure those reports like that never happen. And they lean on fighters to, you know, carry the companies or repeat their talking points or whatever. So I understand why they might feel. And also, we talked about it before. A guy like Robert Whittaker, dude, you have to fight fucking Adesanya in a week. Whatever the money. I mean, you gotta focus, man. He did the right thing, I think.
And it's not me trying to trap him into saying accidental. I just think as long as that's still going to be a headline, it's our job to ask it, and they can take it wherever they want. It's just interesting. I think the responsibility of both sides, how far you should go, but, you know, whatever. It's news. It'll be here and gone tomorrow if nothing happens, Luke. So
well, I'm definitely glad that you pitched people watching your interviews on questions no one wanted to answer.
There's others that they did answer, I swear. Okay, yeah. I mean, Derek Lewis it's a wild chat as you could expect. Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's end the show here, and then we don't have to say necessarily a whole lot about it, but it is worth at least bringing up that UFC commentator, certainly he is much more than that. Joe Rogan has been embroiled in controversy starting at some point on the weekend. I'm not sure exactly when I saw it, but it basically follows along, well, it's more than this, but the current controversy follows along two lines. One, there was a series of episodes, I think 20 or so, where he had used the N-word. You could decide for yourself whether the context of that. He wasn't in any way calling someone that, but you know, there's a debate about whether or not those kinds of using that is appropriate or not. You can decide for yourself. And then the other one was a little bit less ambiguous, which he did apologize for. Actually, a lot less ambiguous. Not ambiguous at all. When he made a joke about Planet of the Apes being in a black Philly neighborhood. That's sort of like just straight up racist, which he acknowledged as much and apologized for. But there's a larger controversy about what Spotify might do. There was a letter written last night from Spotify's CEO to the employees, basically doubling down that they're not going to remove him. You could never imagine Dana White under these scenarios, nor is anyone, I think, in the MMA space at all advocating for it. I'm just pointing out that, you know, I don't think this will have any effect on his UFC position, BC. But is there anything more to the story that you wanted to say?
I think Tuki's got something to say about this.
She's watching. Could you guess what movie? I can tell you what scene she's shouting. Can you guess what movie she's watching?
Maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre based on her reaction, Luke?
Close. No, it's Encanto. And it's the opening scene during La Familia Madrigal. She's
like, I'm at 48 watches. I just need one more to be a... Isn't that what Malcolm Gladwell said about Luke?
At 10,000 hours, yes. So she could write Encanto at this point. And at the end of the first song, the La Familia Madrigal song, she sings a bunch of stuff, and then the kids go, "What about Mirabelle?" And then she's shouting.
Luke, in all seriousness, it's a loaded topic. It's an interesting one because we all fear the extent of what cancel culture becomes. We all also don't. It's tough. You don't want to. You know, those videos pretty damning, right? And it's like, how much can you hold against people for past sins done? And you know, in certain senses, like a Bill Cosby situation, I guess, you know, you're not getting a lot of outrage in that regard, or anything else related to that. But in this case, it's like, what should your reaction be?
Let me ask you.
He shouldn't be fired or yanked, in my opinion, by any circumstance. And I think I fear a little bit more where that can go if it gets too aggressive.
Let me say a couple things. I don't in any way know Joe Rogan like as a friend. We've texted back and forth. As you know, I had the opportunity to be a guest one time on his show. We talked there. I found him completely pleasant, fun, frankly, to be around. He put me at ease because I was very nervous. And I really enjoyed the opportunity I had to do that. So I would say that, you know, whatever extent I've had with him has been utterly phenomenal. I actually feel like, I don't think the Spotify CEO is going to take anything down, and I have not noticed anyone in MMA suggesting as much, nor would I advocate for it. In fact, what I would argue is taking down Joe Rogan's show, if it ever came to that, Spotify CEO ever bent to that pressure, that would be very, very bad. Very, very bad.
Yeah.
For more than two reasons. Two big reasons. One, for a tech oligarch to bend to what is officially now White House pressure, because the government has gotten involved about their version of COVID concerns and what Joe Rogan may or may not be saying. When the state and then corporations are aligned together, you get really, really bad things. The flow of information is important in society, and I would argue that if you take down his podcast because for reasons you think exist there, you are not going to get rid of his audience, but you are going to radicalize every one of them into never, ever trusting any mainstream media organ or major corporation that has any say over the flow of information ever again. And they might be right to be skeptical, that it would be a disaster. More to the point, on top of it, is what I would say is, if you want to convince Joe Rogan's audience to think differently than they have been, or how you presume them to think, you cannot take Joe's show away and think you've won the argument. You haven't even had an argument. If you want to convince them, that's what you have to do. You have to convince them, not take away the Joe Rogan podcast and then expect that all of these ideas that you hold sacred will all of a sudden just be bought wholesale. The reason why Joe Rogan is as popular as he is I would argue, one, he has been a very strong advocate for sharing perspectives that do not get put in mainstream media. Not all the time ones I agree with. I don't agree with hardly anything he said about COVID or any of the guests he's had about COVID. But at the same time, I can recognize that, for example, people that I like politically, Bernie Sanders, Kyle Kalinske, you know where you don't see them? You don't see them on CNN. You don't see them on MSNBC. You see them on YouTube, and a guy like Joe Rogan has done a lot to signal boost them. These are not possible without the kind of work he has done. So, in addition to just radicalizing his young viewers, all of them, in addition to creating distrust with tech monopolies and corporate media, and to say nothing of the fact of how dangerous it would be to say that they could control the flows of information, it would be a horrific idea to take it down. What I will say, though, BC, and I do think it needs to be said, and if Joe ever asked me to tell him this face-to-face, I would say it because I don't have any malice. Joe Rogan's podcast is eminently successful for very good reasons, because not only do people trust him for a lot of ways, but on top of that, I think he has been, for a lot of people, a lot of young men in particular, the kind of conduit to interesting and broader ideas in the public, whether it's about, by the way, space exploration, or in certain cases, even before the pandemic, infectious diseases, Native American history. He has on Palestinian authors that are people who have written about Palestinian causes who I value greatly. You don't see any of that stuff in corporate media, and people know that they can trust him as a place to get this information that would otherwise not be available. That is extremely important and extremely valuable. But no podcast, including MK, is perfect, and it's hard to hear criticism. If I had one criticism, because no show is perfect, and I would say this to Joe, what I would say is what makes him interesting is his creative, the creative possibilities that he pursues. He has so many different interests, from hunting to, of course, MMA, but this huge, vast array of things. Let me finish this point. This vast array in between. The argument that I would make is, at times, I don't feel like he's had enough guest curation at the front end, by the way, which would solve some of his own problems. Here's what I mean. It's not about left or right. It's about quality conversations. Someone like Stefan Molyneux should not have been on his show multiple times. Alex Berenson, who might be the wrongest man on the internet in terms of anything COVID, has been on his show multiple times. It's not the single conversation or trying to have a conversation with these folks that I mind. It's bringing back low quality, whatever perspective you want to bring. These are not interesting people. They do not have smart things to say. In the case of Berenson, routinely wrong, matter-of-factly, about any number of things.
Yeah, I don't know.
To me, it's that last sentence. It's not the pursuit. It's a slight bit of the over pursuit that I think you could correct, and it's not the biggest portion of his audience, but it's one that would make a big difference.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but he doesn't want to be a homogenized show that serves everyone. Like, can't we just have voices? I think
That's
you know, people can be wrong, and I get that
That's
it's
right.
it's a loaded weapon when people are spewing potentially false, bad information. I get that, but I also believe in people have the right to be wrong, and
Yes,
also. And I don't want to go away, like, it's abhorrent what he said. I look at this more as a debate of how much can you retroactively penalize people for
that's the other part.
for doing shit that's not illegal, but that's not cool. Like it could and maybe should affect him moving forward in terms of sponsors that want to work with him or whatever. And it is what it is.
But here's the thing: I'm not asking. I don't think no rational person can ask Joe to not do a show that he wants to do. Right? I'm not even saying don't book some of these guys, but what I am saying is if you have them on multiple times, you are now making a claim, at least implicitly, about the kind of value of information they provide, and you're going back to that well a number of times. I think that has been something of a mistake. He's even indicated, by the way, without naming names, like, for example, like, how many times did Dave Rubin have to be on the show before you realize, and I think Joe did, having this conversation with him about Amazon versus the post office, the guy is a fucking idiot. He doesn't have anything reasonably interesting to say at all, and there's been multiple times that a person like that got on. I'm not mad that he had doctors who challenged the prevailing public health narrative per se, even though I don't agree. I don't think that is in any way something that should be censured or whatnot. But if we're going to say if you don't, I'm not saying he doesn't want somebody's problems, but if you curated away, again, we're talking about a slight degree here, curated away from some of the overreach, I think that has happened, a lot of these criticisms would actually go away from the wider world, because it is true that he shares a vast array of things that have nothing to do with it.
To the crux and the true fuel of the cancel movement, which is because of the awful race.
Right, but everyone wants to make this strictly about a cancel movement, and I guess what I'm asking more broadly is, do you think that 100% this is nothing more than that? I am perfectly willing to believe it's majority even driven. There is an absolute hatchet job element to this, no doubt about it. But are we going to really say that that's the only criticism? That there's no criticism?
No. The fear is shutting down.
Of course,
other voices
Dude,
that go against not only the mainstream but the corporate overlords of
no doubt about it. Like that would be horrible for them to get their way, really, really bad. I'm not in any way whatsoever.
And you're like, so he had Shaban 6 times instead of 5. Like, nobody really cares. Like, okay, it's fine. Like, you might think UFO representative talk's ridiculous, but there's room for it on podcast and radio.
It is easy. It is easy to do a boring show. It is hard to do a popular show. And there are going to be times over the course of the life of the show where you can make choices. Dude, you can have Colby on in MMA all the time. You can have the most outrageous people on all the time. And it will work for you as a means of getting attention. That's sort of a very direct way of putting it. But I mean to say, there is an argument not so much for the worldview to be challenged by Joe because it's his podcast. But if you do care about quality information, if you do care about quality speakers who have real credentials and real backgrounds, yes, deciding who is right and wrong can actually be kind of complex. That's why you want to have debate. When you go back to guys who have demonstrable problems as merchants of the truth, that's an issue for me. I think that should be kind of curtailed a little bit. Now, to your point, I gotta say,
hard to say your co-host name. It was really that hard.
It was, I admit, something that you won't let go of. But to your other point, I am in complete agreement with you. Like, these like stars coming out and being like, well, now that I've learned more, I feel I want to distance myself from Joe. Like, these are people that had perfectly enlightened racial views from day one.
Yeah.
All of them, it turns out, afterwards have said shit just as bad, if not matter-of-factly worse. I found that moral preening to be kind of gross.
I could keep debating you, but I do have to pee my pants. It's a reality.
I'm just pointing out, I think a lot of this is really wrong, and I'm kind of worried about where it's headed, but the idea that there's no criticism. Okay, we're out of here for that. BC has to urinate because he has the bladder the size of a 3-year-old girl. Thumbs up on the video if you're watching on YouTube. Hit subscribe if you're so inclined. Wherever you're listening to on your podcast platform, whether it's Stitcher or Spotify, whatever, leave us a nice review. We'd appreciate it. You can see there below all of our socials if you're watching on the YouTube feed. MorningCombat.store is the place to get all of the merch if you're so inclined. Showtime.com if you want to. 30-day free trial if you like it. Wednesday. MorningCombat@gmail.com for fan subs. We're dead wrong. MorningCombat@gmail.com. Friday show as well. That's it for today's show, I believe. I'm not sure what I'm forgetting. Athletic Greens is the thing you should have. They're great. You go to, I think, athleticgreens.com/morning combat. We've got a whole deal we have associated with that. There you have it. Yeah, there it is. Free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. I mean, hard to say. All right? Until next time.
What you've done before today is not my concern.
Class, you're a scourge. I'm gonna get them where they live. I can't lower my rifle.
Câștigă cu semne de iubire 2 iPhone 13 sau 2 Apple Watch-uri. Cumpără Tinder Maxi și înscrie protagonii pe Tinder.com.
UFC Vegas 47 shot rock one of the top prospects in the entire sport. Got yet another win, another finish in his career. 3 fights in the UFC. Grown in total 15 fights, 15 finishes. So a lot of people were saying he could be the next big thing. So what specifically makes him good? In this episode. Hi everyone, my name is Luke Thomas. I'm the host of this program. This is my personal YouTube channel, and you should know I slap the ghost out of anybody who believes that. By the way, you might know me from Showtime or CBS. Okay, but for today, we're going to talk about Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, I can't really go into a full detail about everything because he's really not ready for that yet. He has 15 fights, he has 15 finishes, which is top of the body of work. Unfortunately, he doesn't have Chimaev is out there, Brady is out there. That's just a lot question like what you see in him. I will show you today. Now, as I usually do, I go through a big presentation up front with numbers and what he's doing. I'm going to skip that in the intro. Ready, okay? Ready? I'm going to get right to let's actually start with that Carlton area. One of the things that every release fighter does end up doing is they make a lot of mistakes. How do you know pretty easily? One, they find themselves in trouble a lot. They get hit a lot. They get a particular weakness. They get taken down a lot. Identify those things. Not that they do everything perfect, but how often do they make choices that end up either backfiring or just not working, being suboptimal? And then what kind of weaknesses do they show along the way in accordance with that? If they're tired, that will affect them. If they're hurt, that will He's extremely well-rounded and then uses that to make good decisions all the time. Basically, never see people never see hardly anything. You never really see guys put any kind of right? Here's one thing he does. We'll start here. Defensibility. Look at what he does. This tells you other than one thing that I want to point out. If they scouted Carlton Harris correctly, they must have known he was strong enough. His part, you see how long the range all that well. Sometimes anyway, so you see him kind of getting out in front of his skis a little bit. Getting a little bit off balance. Rachmanov doesn't play any of these games. Just look, watch. Gets out of the way. Clear this off. Gets out of the way. We're still in the first 30 seconds. What does he do? Gets out of the way. What does he do here? Gets out of the way. Watches everything. We'll switch this up. Looking downfield at all times to see if there's a counteracting possibility. He's not even putting himself in a place where he could possibly do good work, but he knows these kinds of ranges, these kinds of punches, while they are, you can take advantage of them if you're a clever fighter. This
On February 12th, the most epic combat rivalry in Oceania enters its second chapter.
Well, the biggest fight in Australian/New Zealand mixed martial arts history awaits us.
You want to talk about the magnitude of this fight? Biggest weigh-in we've ever had by far.
When the stars all align, I will turn these hands of time.
New Zealand's greatest fighter of all time is reigning UFC middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya.
He has taken this sport by storm. He moves every needle, celebrity and otherwise, that you would want him to move.
Israel Adesanya has that thing that draws people to them, that makes friends all gather to watch you perform. He's a great fighter, and he always brings it.
Who in 2019 entered enemy territory to seize the belt from an Australian icon.
That was a beautiful knockout. Give him the Bobby Knuckles.
Man, just a fantastic performance by Adesanya.
But the story's not over.
The heartbreaking performance in front of nearly 60,000 fans on home soil. His former champ Robert Whittaker's only loss in the past 7 years.
Didn't get the W today, but I'm not going anywhere.
Chapter 1 goes to Israel Adesanya, and perhaps these two gentlemen are destined to fight again.
And the once undisputed king is ready to reclaim his throne.
Embrace the darkness.
He dropped it.
Hold on to the first fight.
Rejuvenated, revitalized.
He came back much better.
Cannoneer in a world of trouble, he retreats.
I'm excited to get back in.
He's a fighter that to become the champion of the world once again.
It's the fight. It has to happen. And here we are again, the most important rematch.
My arch nemesis. Whittaker, I'm the king, bitch.
Before the world's best middleweights close the show, it's a heavyweight clash in the main event.
Two big alpha males in that octagon.
As Australian rising star
Fights with so much reckless abandon and so much passion for combat.
carries the momentum of 4 straight knockouts. A high-stakes bout with the KO King. The former 2-time title challenger. The owner of the most knockouts in UFC history. The Black Beast, Derek Lewis.
Do you believe it? He is alone at the top of the mountain.
It all goes down in H-Town when the worldwide leader returns with another can't-miss pay-per-view event. But first, get ready.
That's it.
For UFC 271.
But I reckon you get past me.
Countdown.
Ready to rise.
New
It's where the patients are. I feel Be careful not to touch the patient's secretion.
No! Have you ever imagined what you can do without lag? You can make glorious plays. So you can destroy your enemy. You can win. Get rid of lag and let your skill do the talking. It's time to sign Exit Lag and be feared on the server. Choose the best plan for you at exitlag.com and be like Luminosity's pro players. Exit Lag. It's the pro's choice.
Showing up to the press conference? No. I mean, it's Jabroni B and Jabroni C on the payroll. So, like, do we really feel like anything will change? No, of course not. But it would be nice if he cleans it up a little bit and doesn't bring any unnecessary stress to his life. All right, so we're going to talk about all that, of course, later in the program, GC, New York Rick, all that stuff. And we've got a super stacked show, my friends. This is an old school show. Now, old school was like 12. There was a period, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, just go into the archives. There's a period where we were doing like 12, 13, 14, 15 guests. And New York Rick always used to say to me, like, you should probably have more just in case. I mean, and I was like, 12, 13, 14 is probably, I mean, like, that's enough. How I was doing that, why I was doing that, I have no idea. But these days, a super stacked show is 6 guests. 6 very solid, relevant, newsworthy guests. Before I tell you who's on today's show, a quick word from our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook, as always, is the presenting sponsor of this here program. They are the official sports betting partner of not only the UFC, not only the NFL, but most importantly, of this here show, the MMA Hour. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code THEMMAHour for a special offer when you sign up. Again, that's code THEMMAHour only at DraftKings Sportsbook. So, last segment of the day is a fun one. I reached out to Bam Bam Tuivasa on Sunday evening, last night, and I was like, look, man, I had you on the show. I had Derek Lewis on the show. Both of you are like, nah, we're not fighting so soon. Derek's talking about not fighting in Houston. You're talking about, like, yeah, sure, one day I'd like to fight Derek, but not anytime soon. And now you guys are fighting each other on Saturday. It actually didn't even occur to me that this fight was happening so soon until I looked at the lineup and I was like, oh my gosh. On Saturday night, I was looking at the lineup, wrapping things up. I was like, what? This fight is happening already? I feel like we just saw these guys fight. That's what happens when I get excited. My voice starts to go to a fever pitch. And so I said, we need to close the loop here. We need to figure out what this is all about. And so we're going to have Bam Bam Tuivasa is going to join us at 4:30 from Houston to talk about how this fight happened so soon, why it happened so soon, all that and more. At 4 o'clock, we'll be joined by New York Rick. New York Rick's going to stop by for Rick's Picks. We'll see if he's here. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. It is Monday afternoon, and it'll be 4 o'clock, so that's really the afternoon, so we'll see if he shows up. GC will stop by at 3:30. We'll recap his bets from this past weekend. I think he did well. There was no wrestling to bet on, but I think he did well with the MMA picks, so we'll check in with him. At 3 o'clock, we'll talk to Casey O'Neill, who's also fighting this weekend. King Casey, one of the best nicknames in MMA, and of course a rising star at 125 pounds in the retirement fight she is of one Roxanne Modafferi this Saturday. Roxanne calling it quits, the Happy Warrior, and she's going up against the very tough, the very game, the very hungry Casey O'Neill. That's at 3 o'clock. At 2:30, one of my favorite people in MMA, the great Arnold Allen, the almighty one, will stop by, talk about Tesco, talk about Tim Hortons, talking about taking showers at truck stops. I kid you not, I go through this man's Twitter and all I do is laugh. Most importantly, he's fighting Dan Hooker on March 19th. That's at 2:30. At 2 o'clock, we'll be joined by Anthony Showtime Pettis. He's got some exciting things happening for him this week, so we'll check in with him. And at 1:30, we'll talk to Alexander Gustafsson, who I have not talked to in like 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. It's been a while. The Mauler returning to action May 21st against Ben Rothwell. Felt like a good time to check in. Of course, Sean Strickland had a big win on Saturday. A lot of people very excited about Shavkat Rakhmonov, who had a big win as well, who improves to 15-0, 8 via strikes, 8 win via strikes, 7 via submission. But there was another big prospect that I was very much looking forward to. I told you there were 2 to look out for on this card, Rachmanov and Nicholas Maximov. We, of course, know is a product of the Nick Diaz army. He is very close to Nick and Nathan Diaz, and he had a big fight against Puna Soriano. I didn't think he should be the underdog, and he proved me right. And so without further ado, let's go to the Zoom machine and say hello to our first guest of the day, the recently victorious Nicholas Maximov, who's kind enough to join us. What's up, Nicholas? How are you?
How are you? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. How's everything?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, it's great to have you on the show for the first time, and I see you repping Ellie Sekbak reporting. The man.
Yeah, I kind of just picked it up. Yeah, Ellie's the man, though.
He is the man.
He's been supporting us in the academy for a long time, so I love Ellie. He's cool. He's a great guy.
He is an OG of the fight game, so it's great to have you on. Congrats on the win. A lot went into that fight for you because you got bumped all the way up to the co-main event, so you know, a little more attention and eyeballs. Can I ask you, after all that, like in hindsight, I saw what you said at the press conference, all that you were excited, you were grateful, but did you feel a little extra added pressure because you were fighting in the quote-unquote co-main on Saturday?
No, not at all. I think he had the pressure. You know, he came in as the favorite. He came in with the loss too, looking like he was trying to avenge a loss. He had all these knockouts and whatnot, and then I think he had a little bit more pressure than I did. I didn't really feel any pressure, you know. I felt fine. I was just happy. I was excited to be there.
What about the fact that you were the underdog? I was surprised by that. You?
Yeah, I just don't think people really realize or know who I am or was at the time. You know what I mean? I think my team and everyone believed in me, you know, ever since the start. But other than that, yeah, it was kind of weird.
You know, maybe, what was it, 2019, I was working for ESPN, and I was going to work on my first basketball game as a sideline reporter, and I was super nervous because it's a really big deal for me. And so I called up this guy, I don't know if you know who he is, I think you do, Zach Rosenfield. You know Zach? And he gave me a pep talk about situational pressure. He gave me this pep talk, and it has stuck with me. And I heard you got the same pep talk about situational pressure on Saturday, or maybe it was Friday, right? Am I accurate with that?
It was Saturday morning. I was at Starbucks, and I talked to him for about 10 minutes about it. It was great. It was a good call. It was a great story. Man, I thought about it the whole day.
Did he tell you the story about the golf and you know how it's just another day? It's just another Tuesday, right?
Another Tuesday. That's what I said in my post-fight press conference.
Yes.
I'm like, it was just another Tuesday at sparring. That's where I got it from.
When you break it down like that, right? When you break it down like that, it alleviates a lot of the stress.
It really is simple. You know who really started that for me was Chael, because I wrestled up in Oregon and I trained with Chael a little bit. And Chael's like, the only difference is there's just a few cameras and a few more people watching you. Other than that, it's the same thing you're doing on Monday through Friday. You know, that's the only difference. And that kind of stuck with me. And it's like, I'm just training. It's just another training camp. It's just another training session with a different guy. You know, that's how we kind of train at the academy when we box and whatnot. You know, we fight like that all the time. So to me, it was just another training session with another guy.
So when did you meet Chael?
Oh, probably 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 24. He had the Submission Underground, and I did the second one with like John Jones and Dan Henderson. That was the first time I met him. And then he would kind of come in the wrestling room when I was in college a little bit.
Damn, so you met him when you were, if my math is correct, like 18?
18, yeah. 18 years old. And I kind of went to his gym. He was like, it was Gracie Baja Portland at the time. Now it's American Top Team Portland. But I went there. Paige Van Zandt was there. Austin Vanderford was there. It was a pretty killer team.
And so at that point, did you know you wanted to be a fighter?
Oh, yeah. Even when I started, I wanted to be a fighter. You know, when I, like 12 years old, I knew I kind of wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
Why? Like, what happened at 12?
It wasn't the fighting aspect, it was the training. Like I said the other day, these guys train to fight. You know, we train as martial artists because that's our way of life. You know, even if I wasn't a competitor, like a fighter, I'd still be doing jiu-jitsu or karate or any of that stuff. Just because I don't do it to fight, I do it because this is like the medicine. You know what I mean? It's just like my way of getting everything out. Like if I want to go to the gym, I won't think about anything except training. And it's just something relaxing about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way you can practice martial arts can just be really peaceful.
Who introduced you to martial arts?
To be honest, it was the Bruce Lee marathon that was happening on like TBS or something like that when I was 12 years old, and I was just watching it. And it was like Enter the Dragon, I think. And I watched like all his Bruce Lee's movies. And then like a couple weeks later, I watched like all these Jackie Chan movies. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna just start doing karate or some shit. And I talked to my dad, and he got me into it. And ever since then, I've just been going up with it.
So prior to that, you did no martial arts, like as a little kid, none of that. You didn't come from a background of family. It was just watching those movies that really got you into it.
Yeah, Bruce Lee, you know what it was? It was weird. I was 12 years old and I didn't really understand philosophy, but Bruce Lee's philosophy really spoke to me. It was just something about him that I really enjoyed and really liked. And listening to him talk was just pretty special, you know?
What kind of kid were you? Like, did you get in trouble a lot? Did you fight a lot?
Yeah, I was all right. I wasn't that great. I wasn't that bad. I got kicked out of school a couple times for fighting. But that was like really young. But other than that, after that, I was a pretty good kid. You know, I didn't really like doing that. I didn't really like. That's why I kind of want to do martial arts, because I didn't like fighting people, but I like training. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like one of those weird balances. So I wanted to learn how to fight just in case anything ever happened. You know. But I played like football and stuff and all that. I always was a contact sport type of guy.
So when you watch the movies and you get into it, you realize right away, like, oh man, like this is for me. I found the thing that I love. I found the thing that I want to be a part of for the rest of my life. Did you realize right away?
Yeah, I think so. It's just, I mean, I'm sure you're like that too. There's like a little spark that hits. Something just connects and you're like, it's like that gut feeling like, oh, wow. I like that. And then you just kept doing it and watching those movies. And then eventually, you know, you start training. You're like, dude, this is awesome. And then you get deeper in the, you know, all the martial art movies and whatnot. So yeah, that was just kind of something that clicked with me.
And so when did you go from Oregon to California? Sorry.
So I actually started in California. Sorry, I actually started, it's dry here in Vegas.
Yeah.
So actually, I was raised in California my whole life in Chico, and whatnot, and I'd go get back and forth from Chico to Stockton to go train and whatnot, and then I went to Oregon for college for about 2.5, 3 years.
Okay. But weren't you born in Oregon too?
Yeah, I was born in Bend, but I mean, I was like there for like a few months.
Okay, gotcha.
And, so that was kind of like, I was born in Bend, Oregon, but raised in Chico, and then always training in California. But I just went up to Oregon just to wrestle. You know, that was the big thing, and trained out there and whatnot. But I was always trying to train at the academy, you know, in Stockton and whatnot. So I went just to Oregon. I went to like Clackamas Community College. I don't know if you heard of that. We were big rivals with John Jones's actually community college, Iowa Central.
Interesting.
So that kind of actually put my eyes on like wrestling in college, watching John and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how it all worked out.
How old were you the first time you went to the APA's Academy?
13 and 14.
Did you know who they were?
Oh yeah, I was a big Nate fan, but I was a really big Nick fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I really like Nate, but I really like Nick. Something about his style I just really like. Just his fighting style. You know, I didn't even really care about what they said after in interviews and stuff like that. I just like how they fight. And it really just spoke to me, you know? Just how they do jiu-jitsu, how they box, all that stuff.
Was it a little surreal for you as a young kid? You're there. I mean, they're at the gym, right? You probably see them. Maybe not every time, but sometimes. Is that surreal?
Yeah, dude, it was pretty intimidating, you know, being a little young, 13, 14-year-old kid. And what's even scarier is their training partners, because they all get beat up all the time. They all fight each other. So then they see me come in, and then they all just want to beat me up, the new guy. And it was pretty rough at first. Like, the training, you get beat up, like, no doubt. I see black belts come in all the time nowadays. I get tapped up by blue belts. Wow. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's a hardcore gym. But it's like I like it because it's a martial artist gym. You know, we train martial arts, not just fighting. It's all about martial arts. So it's a deeper philosophy than just fighting.
It seems like, especially Nathan now, like he's really taking you under his wing. He even shows up to the Apex events. I mean, it does. You know, it's not a common thing, as you know, for him to show up to these. But he really seems to like you and think highly of you. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they like you so much and believe in you so much?
Well, it's cool because he doesn't do that for anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He just does that for the homies. And well, it's because I think I train like how they train. I do what they do. You know what I mean? I don't really just ask questions. If they tell me to jump, I'm going to say how high. It's just one of those things that's a respect thing. With our head instructor, Randy Spencer, he tells me, hey, put on a gi today. Hey, go put on your boxing shoes. I'm going to go do it.
Okay.
Hey, go run 5, 6, 7 miles. I'm going to go do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like a robot or nothing, but it's also at the same time, these guys built a recipe and I'm going to go follow it. I think Nick and Nate are arguably the greatest martial artists to ever grace the octagon. You know, Nick won every title if you really think about it. He won Strike Force, he beat Taka Noragami when he was the man, Elite XC. I think Nick was the man. So if they tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. And I train with them all the time. If not, I try to add more training sessions because I'm trying to catch up to them. You know what I'm saying? There's never catching up to those guys. But that's like the goal, is to try to be under their wing, be as good as them one day, and then bring somebody else under me like that and just keep the lineage going. Some of these teams fall off. Some of these teams have a stellar year, and then they're done and they fall off. But our academy's been around, it seems like forever. And there's always guys that were fighting Strike Force or the Ultimate Fighter and whatnot. So I just want to keep the lineage going. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I got big shoes to fill, but that's part of the game and that's part of the journey. You got to love that stuff. Yeah, like when people ask for like co-main event, it's like that's like a cool pressure. That's awesome. That's what I want. Just so when it's down the line, you're fighting for a world title, it's the same shit. So yeah, it's a lot to fill, but it's cool.
Do you feel, because it feels like you're like that new, guy coming through the team, right? Like you're the guy that everyone's talking about, the latest product of the Nick Diaz Academy. Is there pressure that comes with that? Like you want to live up to whatever their expectations are, right? And whatever they feel you can become. Do you feel like, man, I can't let these guys down because they've really done a lot for me?
Yeah, I want to exceed those expectations, out of everybody. That's the whole goal. And if I don't do it, I want to die trying, and if they see me doing that, then I can live with that. I know they probably have high hopes and everything, and I'm going to keep trying to fulfill them, but it's like I'm going to either do it or die trying, and they know that, and I think that's why they like it. You know what I'm saying? Like being like a rider. And that's what it's all about, just getting the job done. And if you can get the job done, then you got nothing to worry about.
You know what I love about your story? You get on the Contender Series, short notice, you're an 85er, you fight at heavyweight, for goodness sakes, you win that, and then I'll never forget, you win that, and in the back they're like, hey, congratulations, Nicholas, we're gonna give you an Ultimate Fighter contract now. Like, what the hell? I thought we just went through this thing to get into the UFC, now you have to go through another thing. And I know there was some talk back and forth, but essentially you were like, nah, I'm not going, right? You're like, I'm not doing the Ultimate Fighter, and you eventually make it to the UFC without going to the Ultimate Fighter. So good on you. Why did you decide to not go the Ultimate Fighter route?
Well, you know what's funny is I think everyone's like afraid to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everyone, and then I said no because I'm like, I'm not gonna go on a reality show with a bunch of dudes and just wait in a house all day and fight each other and try to make, and it's just weird because like all these guys want to be buddy and friends with each other, and it's like my mentality my whole life and our mentality is like I don't want to be friends with any of these guys, so why do I want to be in a house for 6-8 weeks knowing I'm gonna fight all these guys and be all pissed off and cut weight the whole time? Like it just didn't sound like my type of thing. And then you saw the Ultimate Fighter fight this weekend, and I was like, that's from both those guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, that's exactly why I didn't do it. And yeah, with Contender, it's like, I know it wasn't a great fight, but I'm like, I'm fighting a guy who reached the heavyweight limit. What did you want me to do? Like, and same with like my last 2 fights. I'm like, these guys are all 8-0 first round finisher guys. And I'm like, do people just want me to stand right in front of them and just go trade for trade? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm trying to get to the top, and yeah, people are funny, man. It's weird. That was a weird experience because I'm like, I thought I did him a favor, or not a favor, but like I fought this guy on 2 weeks notice at heavyweight, and then I don't get the contract, I get the Ultimate Fighter thing, and I was like, it was like kind of like a backhanded like compliment.
Yes, it was very bizarre. Were you worried that by saying no, you'd get put on ice or something like that?
Yeah, I kind of was for a minute because
this serpentine chain, we should be. Would you try?
It was hard because I was gonna like either take fights on short notice and these weird little promotions, and it's like, do I risk it and gamble it, or do I just keep waiting? I just kept waiting and waiting, and eventually it all worked out. But it was kind of scary for a little bit because I'm like, for like 5-6 months, I'm like, well, what do I do? Because I'm not gonna fight an easy guy because I just fought on Contender.
Right.
So they're probably gonna give me a UFC guy who just got cut or something, and I was gonna probably have to fight one of those guys. And I'm like, well, that would suck if I lost.
Right.
You know?
Of course.
Not thinking I'm gonna lose, but that was kind of my mentality. I was like, that'd be a fucking bummer. But eventually it worked out, you know?
Yeah, I think you made the right call. By the way, how was your eye? I couldn't help but notice when you took off the glasses.
Yeah, I sorry. Yeah, dude, the worst part is I get like when I wake up, it's so dry and I feel like dry skin around it, and I can't really get anything out of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's it'll be good in like a week or two, hopefully. Get back to training and get back on the high horse. You know?
Are you happy with your performance on Saturday?
Yeah, dude, I think I did everything better than him. I thought I won all 3 rounds except the knee. I just took a bad shot, but I felt like I was outboxing him. I kicked him. On the ground, I was, I broke the record for most takedowns, if you ask me. I control him. I did everything. I just had to be careful because after I got cut, I just couldn't, the blood's just, you know what I'm saying, my eye the whole time, so I couldn't see. So I was like, do I risk it and kind of play it on my feet, or do I just try to go the safe route? And I'm like, this guy's too dangerous to just, fuck around with. He just knocks everybody dead, so why do that?
It is a crazy thing in our sport. Like, even Strickland got this a little bit in the main event. They're like, oh, it's boring. And I get it. It's entertainment for us at home. But you guys are still in there with another human being. You have to do the smartest thing to win a fight at the end of the day, because there is such a big gap between winning and losing, and you can take a step back. And so that's why, unless it's like a total, it kind of drives me nuts when people are, ragging, let's say, on you. Oh, that was, you were wrestling too much. Like, the name of the game is to get the W, and not to stand there like a dummy and get punched and then get knocked out or get cut up. So I wouldn't listen to any of the hate that you made.
I think it's hilarious. I kind of just go through comments, and I sent my mom sends me the most comments out of anyone, like the most negative stuff. And she'll just laugh, and she'll kind of like play with me, like make it as like an inside joke. You know what I'm saying? And be like, "Oh, you're boring, Nick." Da, 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 and just start laughing. But like, it's little banter, but it's like tough love. It's good because you need it for this sport. People are brutal. The MMA fans are brutal. They're assholes. You know what I'm saying? Most of them are assholes. They love you on Monday and hate you on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's all good though. Yeah, it's something I'm used to. I don't mind it. Being with Nate and Nick too. If people already hate them, they're already gonna hate me.
Yeah.
It's just how it's built in. It's just the system,
By the way,
it's all good though.
Could you hear Nate in the fight?
Yeah, it's funny. I heard him in the back each round, and each round he got closer and closer. And eventually in the 3rd round, he was damn near in the cage. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, he's about to hop in and fight this fool for me, It was cool. Gilbert was there too. Gilbert Melendez, he's a really good, obviously Gilbert, he's a really good coach though. He's like he might not even be a better coach than he is fighter. He's so like detailed with everything and breakdowns, man. I like Gilbert a lot and Scrap Pack there. They're a great team.
Great analysts as well, man. You got a lot of OGs looking after you. I mean, it's a pretty special.
Pretty lucky.
Yeah, man. And I know you appreciate that. It's an amazing thing. So in your mind, I saw something pop up on TMZ. You want Hamzat next? I mean, I think he's booked, but did you say that today? You wanted Hamzat?
Yeah, because, well, it's just funny because he's literally called out everyone in the middleweight and the welterweight division, and no one's saying anything. It's like, someone's got to say something.
Yeah.
Like, he can't just walk up, or like I said, die trying. He's walking over everybody in the whole division. He's literally talking over everybody, and nobody's saying a thing. And it's just like, how are you just gonna let him say that the whole time? I see him call out everybody every single day. And I'm like, is anyone gonna say anything to him? It's just like, everyone, I know he's a good fighter, but it's like, I mean, at least try. Is someone gonna try to beat him? You know what I mean? It's funny to me how the MMA world, they're all athletes, it seems like. No one's like a fighter. Everyone's like an athlete now. So they don't really have that mentality of like, oh, I'll fight that guy today. They're like, oh, I'll let this guy pass me. And then maybe I'll fight the guy next to him or something like that. It's just funny how the game works nowadays. It's not how it used to be, in my opinion.
So you would take that fight? You would be down? You think you're ready for that?
Hell yeah. Why not?
By the way,
trying.
I feel like you've heard this, and I say it with the utmost respect. you've heard that you sound exactly like your Diaz brother, right? Like,
That's NorCal.
Okay,
that's
that-
NorCal
okay.
slang. No, I've always talked like this. Everyone talks like this.
No,
It's just no one really comes from NorCal like us. You know what I'm saying? Not make it to the UFC, so I don't think people really hear people.
So we just
You know what I'm
associate it
saying?
with the Diaz brothers.
Oh yeah, but everyone's just like talks like this because we don't understand. It's a NorCal accent.
Yes, I love it,
Yeah.
man. I love it. I feel like it's like their spirit coming through and returning to our lives. It's amazing. And
I don't mean to sound like anybody. It's just it's an accent.
Your hand movements and stuff remind me of them. Which again, I'm saying with the utmost. I love those guys, but
Okay, it's all
great.
good.
It's
Yeah,
great. It's amazing. I love everything about it. Maximov, by the way, your family is from Russia, but obviously you didn't grow up in Russia. And I thought for a second maybe Russian Jew. Maximov sounded like a Russian Jew. Is there any Russian Jew in you?
It is. It's a Russian Jewish name. I did the 23andMe, and that's how we knew we were Russian, but the 23andMe said I was a lot more Jewish actually than I was almost anything. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, my great grandparents came over from Russia, and like I forgot when, but they came over as like doctors or something like that. Then our lineage just kicked down and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's a pretty cool little history. Actually, so.
First Jewish member of the Nick Diaz Academy. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, right. yeah. So I'll take that and run with that.
And you say your dad is your hero. Why is your dad your hero?
Oh, dude, my dad's kind of taught me how to like be a man and everything. He's kind of taught me a lot about life. A lot of stuff I didn't want to do when I was younger, he kind of just helped me through everything. You know, he's whatever his gut feeling says, I usually go with type thing. You know what I'm saying? He's he deals with all my stuff. He's like my biggest supporter. Yeah, he's my dad's the man.
Was he at the fight on Saturday?
Oh yeah, he's never missed a fight, a wrestling match, a football game. He's one of those guys.
Oh really? Wow.
That is amazing. He's oh yeah, dude. He'll take the shirt off his back for me. You know, he's that type of guy.
Does your mom go too?
Oh heck no, I put too much. It's too much pressure for her. Yeah. I mean, you know how it is. Everyone's moms are like, they don't want to see their kid get hit in the face. You know, I don't blame them. I wouldn't want my kid to fight. You know. Yeah, so I don't blame her.
By the way, was it a trip to go back to the Apex? Because that was probably your first time fighting it, right? I mean, since Contenders.
Yeah, I like, it's cool. I like fighting, like the T-Mobile was pretty sweet. Yeah. That was pretty cool. And what's even more cool about that, it was Nick's comeback fight.
Yeah.
So I think that was the coolest part about that whole week.
For sure.
And the whole camp, I was training with him the whole time, you know? That was pretty surreal. That was pretty crazy.
Has he been to the gym recently? Is he training again?
He's out and about. He's just doing his thing. I think he's just, you know, enjoying life and just, you know, doing his thing, doing Nick stuff.
Yeah.
He's a character. He's a good guy.
I saw he's got the big beard now. I like it.
Man.
Respect.
Yeah, it's a different look, right?
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him. He's got the long hair.
Oh, I love it. He looks like Forrest Gump. So perfect world, when do you return?
As soon as possible. Hopefully, I already talked to the UFC about fighting soon. I don't know if I can say anything, but
oh damn,
probably sooner rather than later.
Okay, I love it. Hey man, I wish you the best. I love the moment you said no to Ultimate Fighter. I was like, this is my kind of guy. I love this. Tell them what you want. Follow your own path. Create your own path. Continued success to you. Much respect. Big win on Saturday. I thought it was crazy that you were the underdog. You proved everyone who thought that right, and I hope to see you continuing to climb the ladder there at 185. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for doing this. I know you had to change your travel a little bit to do this, so I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, all good. Thank you so much for having me, Ariel. I really appreciate it.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon, Nicholas, all right? Take care.
Good.
There he is, Nicholas Maximov, a rising star in the middleweight division and a product of the Nick Diaz Academy. Army, tomato, 2-0 now in the UFC. Had a decision win over Cody Brundage back in September and then defeated Puna Soriano. And I like Puna a lot, but I just thought, given his style...
Încearcă noul iaurt Napolact Biodomol cu textură fină.
And he's not your typical, you know, Diaz Academy product in that he, you know, he's got some strong wrestling. He's got a great wrestling base, can strike as well, but knows how to use his wrestling to his advantage. I really thought that this was a good matchup for him. And so much respect to him. And they're very high on him. You see Nathan there. in the front row at all. I mean, he's always at his fights, guiding him, talking him up. It's cool to see. So congrats to him, and hope he heals up very quickly, and we'll see him back in there. And props on calling out Khamzat. It's probably going to be Khamzat and Gilbert Burns, but props to him for calling him out. He's right. Not a lot of people do that. Now, I'm very excited for our next guest. I was trying to think, and it's been like 3-4 years, if not more, since I talked to our next guest. And we found out last week he is going to return to action on May 21st at heavyweight to fight Ben Rothwell. And I was like, man, we got to talk to Alex Gustafsson again. It has been way too long since I spoke to the Mauler, and so without further ado, let's go all the way to Sweden now and say hello to my old friend Alex. Alex, long time no speak, my friend. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Alex. Wow. I was thinking, I was like, 3-4 years, maybe even more since I last spoke to you. We used to speak all the time.
Been a long time.
Yes. And so when I saw you coming back, I bothered you. I know you love doing the interviews, so I figured I'd bother you once more to talk to me. And so thank you for doing this. So let's get into it, because I was a little surprised, Alex, when I found out you're coming back at heavyweight, only because there was talks of you coming back at light heavyweight against Craig. And so I was like, okay, he's going back to 205, but now you're going to heavyweight. So why did you make this decision?
I just want to do one more fight in heavyweight, just to get a really good feeling of it. I didn't really have the time to feel it when I fought Verdun, because the fight went so fast. So I just want to get in there and fight the heavyweights. Get a couple rounds in and get a feeling of it.
Okay, so a few months ago, there was that talk of you fighting Paul Craig. That was legit, right?
It is. But then it's been. I've been, I walk around maybe 240, 245, and then also when I'm, I feel pretty strong, and when I started cutting a lot of weight, it wears on my body. It's been many miles on my body, but if I do it properly, I probably will make it, no problem. But this time I did it the wrong way a little bit, so I went down too much, and I felt my body sore, and I felt like, and also even if we had that fight coming up, I still felt that I wanted to do at least a couple rounds in heavyweight just to get a feeling of it,
And so like now the fight is what is it, in a little over 3 months? Like, what do you walk around at? Like, you say 240 or something like that?
No, 245.
Wow. Were you walking around at 245 when you were fighting at light heavyweight several years ago too?
240.
240. Okay, fair enough. I mean, we get older, right? We get older.
Vänta lite gubben. Pappa, one second, sorry.
No problem.
Jag ska bara ha en intervju gubben. En intervju. I'm back.
Yes, those are the kids. So okay.
Yes, it is. Nap time.
No, I totally understand. So you're gonna stay around at heavyweight. Are you done at light heavyweight? You think? Never again?
No, I'm not saying that. It's just I want to have this fight done, and I want to fight Ben. I think it's a good matchup.
You want me
he's a big, heavy guy, and I just want this fight now, and I'll take this fight, and we take it from there. I'm not finishing light heavyweight either. I'm just somewhere in between, but we're having this fight now, and then let's see what's gonna happen,
After, because like I said, it's been a while. After the Anthony Smith fight, when you said that you were done fighting, ultimately, what was the reason for that? When you felt like you didn't want to do this anymore?
It was just so many. It was just a lot of. It was a lot of things going on for that fight. I know we filled an arena, the biggest arena, or the second biggest arena we have in Sweden, 4 o'clock in the night, and there was just a lot of pressure, I think, and that it was a fight I felt good coming into, and I got caught, so it was just a lot of emotions.
And ultimately, when you came back, which was the Verdun fight, what was it about the sport or just being away that made you say, like, okay, I want to, like, how did you go from I'm done to coming back? What changed? What led to you changing?
No, at the end of the day, I give it a couple of weeks, and I just need to get back to the gym. This is what I do, and it's nothing you can just stop from one night to another, and I'm a very emotionally person, and very And I felt that right away after that fight, and I still feel it. When I lost to Verdum, I just fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. But then I give it a couple of weeks, and I'm back at the gym. So this is what I do.
Mm-hmm. So even in your mind after the Verdum fight, you were like, "I'm done."
I just felt I was. You just get so pissed. And I just say everything to my team, and it's. It's nothing. It was a fight that finished early, and I didn't have a chance to throw after 1-2 punches, and I just what just happened? He just he did a good thing. He did the right thing. Verdum take me down and go for the submission, and he did it good. But I want to have a good fight. I want to have a good fight. I want to throw some combinations and. Get into it a little bit more, and then after that, I just felt very good. Of course, you get disappointed for every fight, basically. So
sure,
but it's all about winning from now on and forward. I just need to get those W's. That's all it is, nothing else. And I'm 35 years old, and I got a lot of miles on my body, but I still feel good. I feel fresh. I'm doing good at the gym. I'm injured free and. Totally free of injuries. I feel, I feel good. I felt that I'm having a good schedule I can follow, and I'm still developing my game, and I'm still working on my stuff. And pretty much, generally, I feel good.
I was just about to ask how your body's feeling after all these fights, but it sounds like you're in a good spot. So that is very good. One thing I wanted to ask you about as well was those 2 fights that you had in the middle of the night in Sweden. Do you regret agreeing to that? Like, is that just weird to fight in the middle of the night for you? Because you had the Rumble fight, you had the Anthony Smith fight. Do you feel like...
No. It was good matchups. I mean, we were, I felt good, coming into that fight. So I don't regret anything. It wasn't just my night, and...
Tocmai ai descoperit noul videoclip al lui 24K Golden. Continuă să urmărești chiar și în timp ce trimiți mesaje despre asta. Nu rata niciun ritm atunci.
It's pretty tough to fight at home, but at the same time, I love it. I love the crowd. Win or lose, you go in there and you battle, and you have your home crowd behind you, and they support me in wins and in losses. So I don't regret it at all.
That's good to hear.
I still think you got screwed with the John Jones rematch. Do you regret that one? Do you think about that one a lot?
No, not so much actually. It's a fight is a fight. You come down straight. A fight is a fight, even if it was in Vegas, LA. It doesn't.
But they changed the whole location. Fight week. I mean, that's crazy. This in retrospect.
They did, yeah, they did. They did, but I was in Vegas. I was there, and I was ready. It was a bit different thing if they put the fight in. I don't know, but it was still in on the right coast of America. So. It was all good.
All right. Well, you're a bigger man than I am. They did induct the first fight that you had with John into the Hall of Fame back in
they
fall. Congratulations. I think it's the greatest fight in UFC history, to be honest with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You weren't there. Is it because of COVID that you didn't come over, or was there a different reason?
Yeah, it was the COVID thing. It's, I need to apply for the visa and stuff like that. It's just a pretty big thing for me to just get clearance to come over,
Okay.
So we didn't have the time for it.
What, did that mean anything to you? I mean, like, how did you feel when you found out they were going to
Of course. It did. It was a milestone in my career, and I will always. Wherever I go, I will have that fight with me. And I went from basically, even if I lost that fight, I went from basically a fighter no one really actually didn't know anything about to become a pretty big name in the sport. So a lot of things happened for me that night that I'm very grateful for, you know. And yeah, so that fight means a lot. To get there with John, the big guys, it's a big honor for me.
When's the last time you watched that fight? Have you watched it recently?
No, it was a while ago.
Okay.
I've seen it I've seen it so many times. So
I bet.
You know, I know every round of it. So.
As someone asked me last week on the show, was there ever a time when you spoke to someone before a fight and they had a confidence and everyone around you was kind of saying like, oh, this guy is speaking so confidently, but no one thinks he's actually going to win. And then he went on to shock everyone. And I said you that week in Toronto. I remember talking to you that week in Toronto, and you were so confident, and everyone was dismissing you like you were just like a tune-up fight for John. And then while watching the fight, we're like, holy crap, this guy knew something that we didn't. So I know you didn't ultimately win the fight, but it's like the closest thing to a victory. I feel like even when you look back on the fight, you look back with fondness, right? Because of the fact that you shocked so many people.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing night, and I'll never forget it. The feeling, the emotions you had after that fight, and yeah, it was a big thing for me.
Any truth to the rumor that you're moving up to heavyweight so that you could fight John at heavyweight?
I don't even know if he's fighting again, is he?
I don't know either. I don't think anyone knows, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of tweeting, but we don't know about the fighting. You think he fights at heavyweight?
I think he's gonna fight. I think he's gonna come back and fight at heavyweight. It seems like he's working out and he's doing his his strength, and he's lifting some weights and stuff. And he looks heavy to me.
Yes.
So I think he'll probably come back in heavyweight.
You think he has success at heavyweight?
Hard to say. It's a different breed of fighters. They are heavier. They punch harder. It's hard to say, man. It's a bit different kind of animals to deal with.
Right.
Heavy.
Do you have any kind of relationship with him?
John?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if you guys DM.
Just sharing a fight.
No. Oh, 2 fights.
No, not really. No. We just had 2 fights. That's it.
All right. Yeah, I know there's a bond that is created. Hall of Fame. I don't know if you guys were secretly friends behind the scenes or anything like that.
Yeah, no. No. I'll probably say hi to him if I see him.
Yeah. You opened a gym recently in Spain.
We're working on it right now, yeah. And we just at the end of we're gonna open it any time now. So it's been a lot of things to do here on the side, not just the fighting part, but we have a lot of things going on, and we got that gym in Spain, and it looks amazing. It's a big place, and I believe it's going to be a pretty big thing.
Why Spain?
Why Spain? I think it's just happened. We got some really good contacts there. We got this opportunity on this big building we're working on now, and it's a pretty good place to be in Europe. It's very, it's in a good spot. It's in Spain. It's not far from anything or anything. It's easy for other guys from different countries to come in and to train. We got basically everything down there. We got the sun. We got the beach. We got on the winter time it's a pretty summer. On the summertime there it's pretty hot, and it's an amazing place, close to the beach.
Amazing.
And
Absolutely.
for me to go from door
Achira.
to door, it's
That's
about 5
amazing.
hours to go.
Wonderful job.
So it's not far at all.
And will this be an All-Stars gym there or your own gym?
All Stars.
Okay.
We're going All Stars.
Okay.
Yeah, but All Stars is my gym.
I know. I mean, are you the sole owner of All Stars?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, really? Has that always been the case?
Pretty much, yeah. It's me and it's my coach, Andreas Michael.
Yes.
We're doing it together, and also my one of my best friends and my colleague and my partner in crime, Maiji Chamas. Maiji.
Yes.
No, Maiji. Yeah.
Of course.
So we're three. We're doing everything. We're doing everything together. So.
Okay.
From the start, you know.
I knew that obviously it was your gym, your home. I didn't know that you actually were one of the owners of it. So my apologies.
Yeah.
And you guys are killing it lately. Of course, I'm sure everyone loves to talk to you about Khamzat. Could I ask you, when's the first time you met him? When was that?
The king of NK.
You know, I don't really remember, you know, what exactly, you know, when and where, and he just popped up to the gym and he did his thing there, and yeah, we all were like,
were you like, holy crap, who is this guy?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. He's like a welterweight kind of guy, but he's like a heavyweight, strong as a heavyweight, fast like a lightweight.
Dad.
Crazy. How many years ago was that?
They took everyone.
I mean, the years just flying by. But a couple of years.
Should know.
We were pretty. I saw a picture not long ago of us two, and we were pretty young, both of us. So a couple of years at least.
And did you realize right away this guy was like you knew from the first time you were in there with him that this guy has something special?
Thunder was kidnapped.
Yeah, you know, I did, and I felt like he was missing a lot of tools. He always been a great wrestler, good wrestler, good freestyle wrestler. Very strong, fast, and very flexible.
I used to be a bandit.
It makes him really good as a wrestler, but that was basically it in the beginning, and then he just
mysterious thing, time.
Everything just, you know, went very fast, and he just developed like his striking game, his grappling game, and you know, he works harder than I ever worked. I think right now he's doing 5 sessions a day at least. 5? Yeah, at least.
Smokes.
I'm telling you, this guy doesn't have anything else than the gym and fighting. That's what he eats, sleeps, and doing all day long. It's great. You know, in my prime.
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to say that, in my prime, you know, when I fought John and those guys back in the days, I did 3 sessions a day. I did 3, and I sparred like I did 20 rounds every sparring. My condition was crazy, but this guy, he outworks me.
Wow.
Crazy.
5.
He doesn't get tired.
And so now that you're a heavyweight, he's a welterweight. Obviously, he fights at middleweight too. Do you spar with him?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I better keep my hands up.
Really?
I'm not kidding. He you know, he's hard. You know, he has this thing that he's fast and he very good precision, very good. So he doesn't need a lot of power to just knock people up because his precision is very, you know, he knows what he's aiming at and hits every time. So you have to be, you know, I play spar with a lot of guys who just laughing and joking around and having a good time. But this guy, you know, when he comes to spar, it comes to spar. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, if it's me or if it's another guy. He just goes. So
during that period where he was maybe considering leaving the sport, he was frustrated, he wasn't feeling well. Did you help him? Did you guide him? You know how difficult mentally this sport can be, and obviously he was dealing with something specific. He was not feeling well, but I was wondering if you were kind of like a mentor to him and trying to tell him to take his time because he has so much potential, right? I mean, everyone thinks he's going to become a champion someday. Were you helping him during that difficult period?
I think we all did our parts, you know, in the gym, in the team. We're like a family. As soon as, if I gotta, you know, I still have some issues sometimes, and I got the team coming up, and also Khamzat is we're there for each other, so we all did our part. And he's a guy with a lot of emotions and a lot of like feelings and stuff. He's a pretty sensitive guy, and so you have to, like, you know, we all are different species, you know. So, you know, we help each other out in different ways as much as we can.
Khamzat a sensitive guy? I didn't think he was a sensitive guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's like a killer out there.
Not when he fights, and when he fights, but outside of the field, he's a very a good guy, genuine guy. Take care of the guys at the gym. He's been living at the gym. They make sure everyone has a good stay in there, and yeah, he's a good guy.
Does he ask you for a lot, like now with the path that he's on? It seems like maybe he's fighting Gilbert next, and after that, you're probably fighting for the belt. Like, are you helping in his growth as a fighter since you've been there, done that? You're the leader of the team. You're the veteran. I'm wondering like how much investment you are putting in his career.
Well, I help him if he needs my, I see stuff. I see some stuff. I try to give some input in, but I'm not trying to interfere too much either because he wants to do his. I'm not his coach. I mean, I'm his training partner, his friend. And I make sure that the coaches, I know, and I'm 100% confident that they do what needs to be done when it comes to his training. I'm just trying to be there as support when it comes to, sometimes it's just like crazy shit going on inside of you, feelings, thoughts, big fights coming up, big crowd, big arenas. So I just try to be there as a friend. If he needs my help, I'm always there whenever he needs it,
How many more years do you want to fight for, Alex?
A couple of more.
Couple more, yeah. And then when you're done,
once my body allows it.
What do you think you'll do when you're actually really done?
Probably out in the wilderness hunting with my dogs and take my family out and living on the land. I don't know.
That's where you're truly the happiest.
Something peaceful, Yeah, of course, yeah, 100%.
Outside.
On the countryside.
Right.
Love to be.
And if there's a new, there's so many new fans that I feel like every year the sport keeps growing. Like you versus John, the first one, 2013, I feel like it was 100 years ago. I can't imagine how you feel about it. If someone wanted to, like, prime Alex, your favorite fight, your favorite moment, what would you say it is? If a new fan wanted to go back and see you at your best, the fight, the moment that, means the most to you, that you look back with the most fondness. At least for now. There's many great moments to come, but at least for now, what do you think?
For now, I will see the first of all. It must be my debut when I knocked Jared Hammond out in was it in Manchester? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it was my first fight in the UFC. I knocked him out in I think it was 50 seconds or something. It's a really good moment in my career, and also when I fought the first time in Sweden at the Globe. I fought Thiago.
Why is everyone so slow?
What's it called now? Thiago Silva?
Silva, yeah. In the main event.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, John Jones.
Go on.
And Glover Teixeira also in my hometown.
That was amazing. I honestly thought after the Glover fight, I thought Glover was done after that fight. Like the beating that he took against you was so bad. Does it blow your mind that he's champion now?
It's amazing to see.
Yeah.
He's a tough dude, man. He's a really tough dude.
Did it give you inspiration when you saw that?
It's very impressive. I saw the fight. It's very impressive. It's just like, he's a beast. He's a beast. And, it's not only me, he got a pretty tough beating against John too.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of guys, and he just comes back. Like he just goes one direction. He doesn't care. And it's impressive to see. And now he has the belt, so all respect to him.
I'm sure that kind of gave you a little bit of a push, right? It's some inspiration. This guy could come back, win the title.
He is an inspiration, yeah, of course. How old is he? 40, 41?
40, 41, I think, off the top of my head.
It's amazing to see. And it's a lot of inspiration for me to see, and to see him succeed like that. And it's crazy. It's amazing to see.
I was wrong, by the way. 42. He's 42, so he's even older.
He's 42.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. So, okay, so last thing. So for you, you say a couple more years. You are going to return May 21st against Ben Rothwell. Big boy Ben Rothwell. Wow, what a size difference there.
Yeah.
That is a large man. But I like the matchup.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, but your days of fighting at 205 aren't over. To let everyone know, we're not done.
Aren't over yet. it's just this fight in heavyweight now, and we take it from there. I got all my eyes are on Ben right now. My focus is on Ben. I know he's a pioneer of the sport. He has like 50 fights, and it's gonna be a great fight. Can't wait to step in there again, and it's been too long now, and just to perform and. And get those W's, get those wins back, and take it from there. And let's see if it goes light or we go heavy. Let's see what happens.
And is it Apex, this one?
Don't know. I know it's in Vegas, but I don't know where.
That's a small cage for two big guys.
It is.
But
I always want to be on top of me, but I'm not going to allow it, though.
Okay. Well, great to catch up with you, Alex. I really appreciate the time. Like I said, I know you don't love these interviews, but anytime we get to talk to you, it's always nice. It reminds me of the good old days. And
I love talking to you, Ariel.
I appreciate that. And I'm happy that you're back and feeling good. And I wish you the best May 21st against Ben Rothwell. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Thank you, my friend.
All right. All the best. There he is, Alex Gustafsson, Alexander Gustafsson, the Mauler, who is returning May 21st at heavyweight. And so there was some talk that he was going to return at light heavyweight against Paul Craig a few months ago. And that was back in September, but Gustafsson withdrew, and now he says he's healthy, he's good to go, and he's going to fight Big Ben Rothwell. Wow. How about that? And in case you want to write him off and say that he is done, remember, back in May of 2017, he viciously knocked out Glover Teixeira in the 5th round. Remember that finishing sequence? It was like 3 straight uppercuts. Bang, bang, bang. He knocked him out. Coincidentally, that's Alex's last loss. After that, he went to fight John Jones for the 2nd time, December of 2018, which was a crazy, 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 crazy story. Remember, they were supposed to fight T-Mobile Arena. Some irregularity with John's pre-fight drug test, so they moved it to Inglewood. Fought for the vacant light heavyweight title. John wins via 3rd round KO. Comes back, fights Anthony Smith. Huge win for Anthony Smith. Submits him after the loss to John Jones for Anthony Smith. A lot of people, including Anthony, didn't want to see him return so soon. He took the fight. Remember that whole story? And then he came back 2 summers ago, amazingly. And I can't believe July 2020 is now almost 2 years ago. Where is the time going? He moved up to heavyweight and fought Verdum in Abu Dhabi and lost in 2.5 minutes via submission. So this is a big one. This is a big opportunity for Alexander Gustafsson to get back on track. And that All-Stars team is doing really well right now, of course, with Khamzat doing his thing. And Khamzat and Gilbert Burns were going back and forth. Has there been a fight that has lasted this long in terms of the back and forth? Like, they both seem to want it. April 9th, April 9th, April 9th, April 9th, April 9th, April 9th. I love the fight. Who doesn't love the fight? Massive respect for Gilbert, taking this fight. Amazing. Massive respect for Khamzat as well. But I feel like every few days we get April 9th, April 9th, April 9th, April 9th, April 9th. What's taking so long, guys? We found out April 9th is going to be in Jacksonville, so we could stop talking about that. We don't know where the May pay-per-view is going to be because it was supposed to be in Brazil, but they moved it. May 21st, I reported last week, is going to be headlined by Holly Holm versus Caitlin Vieira. A lot of you didn't seem to like that fight, if I'm being honest. I don't know why you didn't like it. Maybe because it's the headliner? I actually think it's a good fight in the 135-pound division, but a lot of you didn't seem to like it at all. In any event, in a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by, I believe, Anthony Showtime Pettis. Anthony has a big week coming up. A lot going on for him. First ever Showtime FC event this Friday in Lakeland, Florida. It's his own event, his own promotion. He also has his own management company, Showtime Management. Pettis making some big moves. Became a dad again. Back in the PFL. There's a lot to talk to Anthony Pettis about. Without further ado, let's go back to the Zoom machine and say hello to the one and only Anthony Showtime Pettis. There he is. What's up, Anthony? Joining us in beautiful Hawaii. That does not look like Milwaukee, I'll tell you that much.
Definitely not Milwaukee. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I saw, your guy Damien hit me up to, have you on. Big week for you. I was happy, but then I saw that you were in Hawaii. I was like, this is really early in Hawaii. Is that cool with Anthony? But I guess you're a dad now, so you wake up early these days. You're a dad again.
Oh, yeah, we wake up. She wakes up at like 5 a.m. now, man. So yeah, I'm up early.
How did you feel about going back to, the diapers and everything? Because, I know you were a dad already, but, to go all the way back to the beginning, how was that for you, to rewind the tape?
Yeah, it's different this time around, man. Technology definitely changed. Like these cameras, these breathing machines that tells you the baby's breathing. Like it's definitely different this time around. But now it's cool, man. It reminded me of like that love that I had when I first saw my first daughter. Like that as dads know what I'm talking about. But once you see your child, like it reminds you of that, and it brought me back to that moment again. And it feels good to be doing it again.
I saw a video that you posted of I believe it's your daughter, like sucking on your cauliflower ear or chewing on it. That's crazy, man. Does she do that a lot?
Yeah, all the time. It's weird. Like every time I'm holding her, especially on this side, it's like my right ear. That's the one I got cauliflower on.
Right.
She's on this side. She like looks at it. She goes right at it. It must feel good on the teething.
Yeah. Do you feel anything when she does that?
No, man, the ear's like pretty much done. Like there's no feeling in that ear at all. Even when I get haircuts, the barber can't even like push his ear down.
Wow, that is wild. That is amazing. Well, I'm very, very, very happy for you and happy that the baby is doing well. Like I said, a lot going on in your life. So let's go in order here. Showtime FC debut event this Friday in Lakeland, Florida. You're going to be on Fight Pass as well. Why did you want to start your own promotion?
Yeah, well, actually, this was going to happen last year, actually, in October. We were supposed to do it in Wisconsin, but everything with COVID just slowed everything down, man. It just made everything, take a pause. Probably for the better part for me, there's a lot to work on with these fight shows. It's not as easy as everybody thinks it is or that it looks, I guess, that these shows make it look like. So, I think, just having my management company, all the fighters that I had in Milwaukee that I saw up and coming, myself, I used to fight in like corner bars, people smoking in the rooms. That's how I got my chance at the UFC and WEC and where I'm at now. So kind of just for me, it's like just giving these guys a platform that can show these bigger organizations what the local and the regional talent looks like. And I'm definitely going for the best of the best, not just like the guy who sells the most tickets or who has the biggest fan following at that stage. I'm bringing in guys from all over the place, even for this first card.
So your goal for 2022, how many shows do you want to put on?
4 to 5, depending on scheduling. I got my PFL tournament as well that I'm still doing, so that comes first. We're sneaking this one in there to start with, and we kind of got the year planned out. I got a great team of people that were in the industry that I made friends with, that I like the way they operate, that they perform, and in this side of the industry. So I got a good team behind me.
Last time we spoke about the management company. I want to ask you about that as well. But doing this, the promotion, the management. Was this always the goal for you when you got into MMA, that eventually you do all this stuff, or was there something mid-career recently where you're like, I want to transition into this world? Because not everyone does this, obviously.
No, I think having my little brother behind me and him following in my footsteps and me guiding his career gave me a lot of experience on this side. And also, I've been in this since the beginning. I've seen the merger from the WEC to the UFC to the WME to where it's at now, and PFL, Bellator, ONE FC coming in from Affliction days, from all these shows, So like to see to have that experience and to know what works and what doesn't work. I'm really looking not to compete on that big level. I'm going to the regional level to show these the big shows. Like these are whoever wins my championship belt. These are the next guys that are aligned for their shot at the big show.
So would it be fair, and I say this with respect, like to sort of compare Showtime FC, or at least what you want it to become, like sort of like an LFA?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's definitely respectful of that. When I look at like LFA, even all the local shows, like the guys that are operating on the more professional level, that give these athletes that are trying to make their way to the top, you know, these bigger organizations, give them that platform. And I think, you know, even with UFC Fight Pass, giving them the fans the opportunity to see that journey, like, you know, there's really no place to watch an MMA athlete make their way to the big shows. You know, the UFC Fight Pass came around, and now you can kind of see a little glimpse into that. But I think it's going to get, you know, further and further along, just like these bigger other organizations.
So what's this Showtime kick bonus? They have to actually pull off the Showtime kick?
Yeah. We're still working that out, man. So I was talking with my team, and I'm like, yeah, I want to make this fun. And you know, obviously, my fighting style speaks for itself. Showtime, my style, everybody knows I put on a show. So with my matchmaker, we're trying to make it exciting and trying to make it my own. So I think, yeah, we're gonna put some bonuses in there for these athletes that can, you know, land some fun things or something that makes it interesting. So I'm not gonna get into the details yet because I don't know exactly how I'm gonna play the structure out. I don't want to say something that's wrong, but the first fight show will have a fun fight structure bonus. Showtime kick will definitely be one of the bonuses, probably the top bonus.
That is amazing. How many fight on this first card on Friday? How many fights?
We're gonna have 5 on Fight Pass, but we're hoping we had 10 scheduled, but we'll see what falls off and what goes on. COVID's just messing. Man, it's really hard with COVID. I mean, honestly, right now it's probably the hardest time for the fight promotions to make these fights happen.
Right. And I think you just signed someone recently, like a Brazilian prospect that you were very excited about. I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah. Killer, man. Yeah, he's not fighting on this first card, but yeah, I mean, we got even like we were talking about the management company, but Scotty Stockman, one of my first guys, he actually came and tried out in Milwaukee, drove in and you know, got picked up on my team. He's fighting on the PFL Contender Series coming up in March, so it's cool to see all this coming around full circle. I mean, that happened a year ago. He's already, like, you know, one of our guys, 2 of our guys are 2 steps away from the big show. We purposely went to the guys that had no fights. Now I signed a lot of guys that just had no experience, that just had a hunger, that had some skill, and, you know, see who made it a year later. You know, I think we signed like 82 guys, and there's probably like 16 to 20 left that actually made it all the way through that are getting opportunities now.
Wow. So how many guys do you have under the Showtime management group?
About 48. Oh, actually 52 as of.
Wow. 52?
Yeah. And they're all over talent-wise. You know, there's not guys that are like, you know, we didn't go after like guys in the UFC, Bellator, PFL. We're trying to get guys that are up and coming, especially with my fight show in place. Now we have a place to showcase our talent. It all just makes sense.
Wow. Okay. And so some of the, like, not everyone who fights for Showtime FC is under that
not
team,
at all,
right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we're looking for. I mean, we're sparely putting our guys on our cards right now. We're definitely, like, right now I'm trying to make the best fights for the fans that are watching UFC Fight Pass. You know, the guys that are relevant right now and that are knocking on that door.
And just curious, because when I think of Showtime, obviously I think of Milwaukee. And I know you said October was the plan to do it in Milwaukee. Why did you choose Lakeland, Florida for the first show?
I think because, I mean, well, Florida's honestly the easiest place to put a show on right now.
Right.
And that's where all the leagues are going, to Florida.
Right.
We had the arena set up for October in Milwaukee. I was in the Panther Arena, where the college right across the street from the Pfizer Forum, the new arena.
Yeah.
But just with the COVID protocols, you know, the vaccines and everything, like, it was just hard to put a show together and make it profitable. Not even profitable, just sustainable to do another one. So we had to pull it back, and, you know, Florida was the place to go.
Is this more expensive than you thought it was going to be?
Most definitely. Yeah, I'm funding this one, you know, all out of pocket of my own. But I mean, I hired, you know, professionals that like I said, like guys that I crossed paths with, and I saw their shows and I saw what they did. But yeah, it's definitely more expensive than I thought it would be, just based on everything, man. Like, you know, I see all this talk about fighter pay right now, and it's just weird to see when a budget's made for a fight show, how much of it's geared towards fighter pay, even at this level of fighting, to see how much is available for fighter pay. And it's just, you know, without that budget and that business flowing, there's no platform for these fighters to actually fight. So, you know, I see both sides of it right now. I'm seeing both sides of it.
Yeah. And so in addition to all of this, you're still fighting, obviously, and you're going to be a part of the PFL season 155, yes?
Correct.
When you think back to last year with the PFL, how do you feel about last year?
Was horrible, man. I mean, now that I'm talking about seasons, like I can talk about my season. Last season was probably the worst season I ever had. You know, like I didn't know what to expect. You know, coming from the format that I fought on, which was like, all right, take a fight, take my time off as much as I need to get my body right, and then get back into a camp, fight again. And I know it was my timeline. Whereas in the PFL, you take your fight, you got 8 weeks to get ready for the next one, 8 weeks to get ready for the next one, no matter what happens in the fight. So strategically, I came in there trying to be, you know, Showtime and do these cartwheel kicks and all these like crazy things against the first fight. And it didn't play in my favor. You know, I almost caught him, but I lost all 3 rounds pretty much. And then, you know, the second fight I go in there and fighting Hauch, the champ, the guy who just won. I really focused on boxing because the canvas in the PFL was like super slippery. I was slipping every time I threw a high kick or I threw any kind of kick. So like I never fought in that kind of canvas, well, that style of canvas for a long time. You know, I've been fighting on the UFC canvas for a while, but for my whole career pretty much. I was used to that. It's a lot of new things that happen, but I think the biggest thing was the format, just not having that time in between fights to bounce back and get your body right to jump back in there. You know, it was different for me. So this time around, I kind of understand that all the bulk of your training has to be done at the front end, and the fights have to be strategically planned out. You know, like my first fight, I can't go out there. If I don't get the knockout, I better make sure my body's healthy so I can get into this next fight 8 weeks later and feel, you know, the way I should be feeling for a fight.
I feel like this is a silly question to ask someone who has done it all in this sport, but like there was a lot of buzz about you coming over there, the face of the promotion, all that stuff. Did any of that get to you?
Yes, all of it got to me.
Really?
I'm telling you. Well, the biggest thing that got to me would be the quarantine. So we had to go there and stay there 17 days, you know, inside this little bubble that they made for us, which was dope. I mean, the bubble was amazing. Whatever they spent a lot of money on that setup for us to be, you know, make sure the tournament can play on. But sitting in that hotel room and away from my family, my girl was about to give birth. You know, it was just like a lot of that play that was like made me not want to be mentally there in that hotel room. Like it kind of felt like I was in jail. I'm like, bro, like if this is how jail feels, I'd never want to go to jail. Like that was like I was like, I can't deal with it. So like doing both of those quarantines, you know, it was like mentally, it gave me time to think about everything. It was nerve-wracking.
So by the end, you're probably like you just want to get the hell out of there, right? Like 17 days is a freaking lot, man. Holy smoke!
I had my bags packed before fight week even started. You know, I had all my stuff ready to go.
And do you think that kind of made you overthink things and get at you're just kind of alone with your thoughts for? I mean, you could train, but for I mean, 17 nights alone, that's a lot.
I mean, I've been working on my mental, you know, training a lot these last couple of years, you know, but like to